No. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Just catch it right there.
That's what I like to do. I like to catch it right at the end as it fades out, and if I don't catch it right in time, yeah.
You need to have like a button that gives you like you hit.
Oh,
it'll have both the videos in tandem playing one under the other, and you have a button to end the looping one, and so you end the looping one, and then it will just end at the fade to transition. So we'll just do it naturally.
Yeah, I need to redo the video so it has a longer fade out, so that way I've got more time to catch it, and then do the swipe thing. But yeah, that's a problem for future Tree. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Pathfinders podcast, episode 56. My goodness.
I feel like we haven't done this in like a month, and I don't know why.
Let's see.
It's only been like a week, hasn't it?
It's been a couple weeks. It's been since the beginning of the month. And that is really it. That's more than anything, it's on me, because just my schedule has been crazy busy this month, and really August into this month because of the new job more than anything. And it's going to continue a little bit into October, but October is definitely looking a lot easier. So it is what it is. Hey, sound check, everybody who's watching live. If you can let us know how we sound, if we're equal and loud enough. It looks good on my end, but it's always easier and better to get it from you guys who are watching live. Just let me know if Nazeris and I sound okay. Nazeris, why don't you just tell everybody who you are, what do you do in Star Citizen? We'll rip off the words. Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. If you don't already know me, you probably are new here. So anyway, I am Nazeris. I run the Noah Forge, both the Noah Forge Industries org and the Noah Forge YouTube channels and Twitch page. So I mostly do, well, I say mostly, but playing mostly Starfield now. But I do Star Citizen, Starfield, and Space Invaders content. I just not relaunched, but I took a week off to kind of center myself because I am planning on it's do or die, basically. I've been trying to do YouTube for 9 years now, and I've been failing at it because I'm not doing it hard enough. I'm not, what's the words I'm trying to say eloquently, but I'm not doing it. Basically, I didn't focus, and either I need to focus or I need to stop doing it because it's just taking a lot of time. It's fun, but it's just taking too much time. So it'll be relegated to Hobbyland if I do not get this goal, and that goal being 500 a month next October. So if that's the goal to hit for me, so with that, I have a streaming schedule, which is 4 nights a week. Starfield's on Sunday, Space Engineers on Tuesday, Star Citizen on Wednesday, and then Starfield on Friday. Well, actually, Sunday is going to be the bringing back of the Star Citizen Content Creator Roundtable podcast. So that's going to be starting up this weekend. Launched a Patreon again. And I have 2 videos coming out, one Space Engineers, one Star Citizen every week. This week, we just launched the first episode of building a super cargo hauler in Space Engineers, and this Friday, we're going to be releasing a showcase of the Aurora ES, and we're going to start going through all of the starter ships, the ones that are labeled starter in the Matrix of Lies.
Cool.
So that's what I've been doing.
Very good. And yeah, if this is your first time watching, this is the Pathfinders podcast, where we are charting our way through all the nebulous information surrounding Star Citizen Squadron 42 and their development. And everybody should know you and I by now. But yeah, if it's your first time, welcome to the show. Today, or this evening, we are going to be covering the monthly reports for August for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. And we'll probably, who are you people? Where am I? Blizzrat has dementia.
That's the drugs, Dave.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so we'll be covering the monthly reports. Definitely a lot of interesting stuff in these monthly reports. They are definitely on a roll leading up to CitizenCon. It's a good time to be following the development. It's not necessarily a good time to be, watching and waiting for big news on ISC. But if you read the monthly reports, they've been good. They've been very good. So,
and I think we mentioned this before. I think it's more telling what's not in these reports, and I'll be kind of talking about this as we go through them. But
or
all
the things that they mention vaguely,
like or that was in last month.
Hey, we're working on
showing
this
up in this one. Yeah,
and we're not going to tell you any details. We're just going to tell you we're working on it because we're going to show you. That's essentially what it boils down to. And we're gonna show you in a big way, but we're working on it. And everybody keeps asking, like, well, what's going on with resource management? And it's like, just wait till CitizenCon. They tell you that they're working on it. They're not going to tell you the details. They're not going to show you anything because we're going to get
the key
shown
features,
the big update at CitizenCon.
Yeah, the key features we've been following, like the big key features, not only server meshing. I almost expect them to have like a local demo like they did 3 Years of War of server meshing. Like that makes sense to me. But also resource management, building interiors, and UFGs. And UGFs. There we go.
Yeah.
Those 3 features will almost definitely be panels. If not in the demo itself, the big CitizenCon demo. Hopefully they do one. Also, my wish list will definitely include a Tony Z talk. Like we now have an economy team.
Mm-hmm.
So is he running that team, or is he in a different team and he's done with his part? So let's find out.
When we get down to that part of the monthly reports, we're gonna have to talk about that or a little bit because that's the confusing part for me is like, okay, it's the economy team. They're working on the economy, but SST didn't just work on quantum. They worked on lots of things related to quantum, services within it. So are those being worked on by the economy team? Are they going to form another team with other people in order to continue to work on those? I don't know. Yeah, we're going to have to make sure we do, just like last year, we'll do an episode before CitizenCon where we talk about our predictions and expectations, and then we'll recap as well.
3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do one for the September roadmap updates, and then we'll do another one right before CitizenCon, and that should be good.
So basically, our next 3 weeks is roadmap updates, Starfield, and CitizenCon.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah.
That's our next 3 episodes.
Which means I have to play more Starfield. I've barely gotten any time to play since the last time we talked.
I just saw
that's my schedule has been.
What was it? Eclipse something? I keep forgetting his name. Like Zero Eclipse or something. I forget his name. Sorry. He does a lot of Satisfactory content now. He's doing Starfield content too. He just posted his 100-hour review. I'm like, sir, I've got less than 30.
I'm just trying to get to double digits. That's how busy I've been. It's been nuts.
Wow.
Tomorrow is day 6 in a row with the Army for me, and I've basically been working for over 2 weeks in a row. It's just no free time. It's not Zero State.
It's Eclipse. Total Eclipse? Is it just Total Eclipse? Am I just dumb like that? Yeah, it's just Total Eclipse.
Before we change screens and get into the monthly reports, the meat and potatoes of this podcast, I have to give a big shout out to those of you who are watching right now, those of you who are watching later, those of you who are active in mine and Nazeris' discords, our community, because I finally got around to doing it, but I made the donation to Stack Up with my most recent 2 payouts from Twitch, and that got us over the $1,000 mark for stackup.org. And so you'll see the updated goal actually when we change screens here in a second. That's odd. It's not showing the money goal. Anyway, so we broke the $1,000 mark for this year, for this drive with stackup.org, which means we as a community have sponsored a loot crate. And loot crate is the term that they use for sending a gift package to a veteran or an active duty military member. And usually they put like video games and consoles, controllers, sometimes like TVs or whatever. Just everything that they need to get started to play video games, either and connect with other people playing video games, or to be able to play video games like with their squad mates, that sort of thing while they're deployed. Yeah, magazines with pictures. But so we as a community have been able to sponsor a loot crate for a lucky individual. When they make the post about who it went to and what they sent and everything, I'll make sure to share that on Twitter and in my Discord. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you for being a part of what Nazeris and I do, and what my partners on Armchair Admirals and I, what we do as far as, making content and having a community, and you guys being a part of it, and hanging out with us, and, the good conversations that we have, and the fun we have in game when we're able to get together. It's a big deal for me. And the fact that we all came together, you guys suffered through ads in order to, or supported directly, made donations, subscribed to the channel, all that. It's a big deal. We accomplished something that's pretty significant, and I put that goal up there just because I was like, oh, it's an even number. There's no way we'll raise $1,000, and here we did it, and it's only September, so big round of applause to all of you. I just can't thank you enough. So cheers for the community that we have built. So without further ado, Nazeris, you're heavy breathing into the mic.
Am I really?
Yes. Slap hands. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the viewing screen, and we'll get started with the monthly reports, and Nazeris will start us off.
Yeah, now I can talk instead of breathe.
Yeah. You can still breathe. You have to breathe to talk, but
Nope, not gonna breathe for the next 3 hours. Nope, not gonna do it. So since you already have the squadron pulled up, I will start with the Squadron 42 header, then switch over to the Star Citizen header. As always, when we are reading documents from CIG directly with minimal kind of commentary on top of them, we like to read the headers so that we know the purpose of these documents. So, to Squadron 42 recruit subject squad or development updates 08/02/2023. Welcome to August Squadron 42 development report. Enclosed, you will find details on the latest progress made across the campaign, including AI perception, vehicle UI, and ambient audio. Thank you for your continued support of Squadron 42. Sincerely, CIG Communications. And switching over to the Star Citizen one, we have, as we close in on Alpha 320's live release, which is actually happening tomorrow at the time of live stream, many teams are finalizing their work on the patch's various new features. Beyond the patch, significant progress is being made on content coming later in the year. So read on for the latest. That's the way it ends. CIG Communications.
See, that's why we read these things, because that sentence right there. Beyond the patch, significant progress is being made on content coming later in the year. So read on for the latest. So when we're reading the rest of the report, think about what they're talking about and the stages that they are describing things in, as far as like what teams are working on what. And that's going to give you a good indicator of what they're planning for 321, which they did confirm that there's going to be a 321. So, and
I mean, not officially. It was technically a leak because it was said in passing by a single dev replying to somebody. So
there have been multiple.
It's been
devs that have
said, but just not officially.
Yeah. And here's my question: if it drops tomorrow, which is Tuesday, Wednesday's Roadmap Wednesday, do you think, because they don't add the next patch on the release view,
I don't think we're getting 321 till after CitizenCon on the roadmap.
You don't think so?
Yeah. No, I think a lot of the 321 stuff. I think all the 321 stuff is going to be, not all of it, but there's going to be 320 stuff at CitizenCon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have not heard of the state of the quantum simulation virtual AIs or bounty hunting in a while. And when they're like, yeah, this is like the main focus of the company, and then they go silent. Oh, by the way, we're having CitizenCon for 2 days this year. Oh, it's just a coincidence.
I don't know. We might get 321 added to the release view on Wednesday. If it isn't Wednesday,
if the column's
it'll be
there, it's not going to leak anything like interesting. Like it will get a lot bigger at the very least. It'll get a lot bigger after CitizenCon.
They'll put some like low hanging fruit things on there. Yeah,
the X1's coming out in 321. Yeah, crap like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
we polished the ocean tech. Yeah.
It's looking good. Look at those waves, man. Don't you want to hang ten on those waves?
I mean, that's one of the things they had in the last month's report was like, where we improved the shader for the ocean. With now ripples, and you can smash a ship into it and it will affect it.
The water sim is going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I want to see what's going to happen to your sink full of water when you turn off the gravity. So yes, it is official that 320 is coming tomorrow. That was said in the...
That's the goal.
Newsletter?
They've
said it
no,
at
this
least
week
on
in Star
Spectrum.
Citizen.
This week in Star Citizen. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There was some document that I read that was sent mostly to me, but all the
Aether Drift, good to see you, buddy. Just saw you saying hi in chat.
Nice. Yeah. I have the CIG, like the RSI website updates, the Reddit page, the patch notes, all piped directly into our org's Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, like all the data comes straight to me. So I don't forget where I see some stuff. Anyway, to start us off, we have AI features. All of it is in both Squadron 42 and
AI
Star
features
Citizen.
And AI tech are both. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So there's actually, it's weird how much is in each of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, because there's basically the team very rarely coincide unless they're like core tech. So other than these two teams, there's only one other team that's doing work on both, and that's graphics, like core engine stuff, and R&D. So I guess we haven't said that yet. There's no engine team. I don't know if we've said that yet since we went live.
Mm-mm.
You guys know, you guys have watched this a while. You know how much we like the engine team, because it's those big changes to possibilities of the game moving forward. This is the first month that I remember there being no engine team.
Ever. Yeah. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, like even back before they split it up by team, there was still an engine team mentioned in the report. I think they worked at the LA. It was either LA or Santa Monica studio, where they mentioned like core tech guys or core engine guys. So very interesting. Anyway, starting off with AI features. Last month, AI reviewed Perception to fix issues where NPCs wouldn't correctly recognize that a target had died or that they've seen a situation before. These situations led to various bugs, including the AI constantly calling for med pens or remaining in combat after it had finished. It's really cool that they now will continue to check. And if they walk around the corner, they're not going to forget they just saw, a comrade laying on the ground. They'll walk around the corner and see him. Oh, no, there's a dead body. Here, walk around the corner and forget and come back. Oh, no, there's a dead body. Yeah. Lots of nice quality things there.
The classic AI tropes, NPC tropes, there's something fishy going on around here. All right, well, anyway.
I think that's literally a line in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
In Skyrim, you shoot them in the head with an arrow, and they walk around and patrol for a minute, and then must have been the wind.
Have you heard the song yet?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Was it the Cakewalkers or something made a music video, a whole music video? It must have been the wind.
That's too funny.
It's great. I love it. They also revisited cover usage, pulsing various functionalities and animations to ensure that the feature works across a range of situations and environments. Changes and fixes were also made to the tactical point system, which is used to drive where AI moves. This will help identify what needs to be adjusted when reviewing combat in new locations. I think being that this is in both reports is a kind of a big deal. I just moved crap around. I didn't know, and I don't know if they've mentioned that this system either is in or is already being used in a Star Citizen environment. The tactical point system. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the first time it's been used in a Star Citizen context. But
I would imagine that because it's being like, it's one of those things where, and the way that it's been explained to me is like when things go into the main dev branch, that's shared between Squadron and Star Citizen, what they take from that main dev branch and bring into SC based off of manpower, like who, okay, here are the teams and the people that we have available to work on these things. What can we bring into the next patch? Or what can we bring into, what can we start working on now in order to bring into a patch, 2 quarters, maybe 3 quarters down or whatever. But they have to, they can't bring this stuff into SC yet because it's complex AI behaviors that are going to require server meshing. So the AI stuff, like, technically, because it runs on the same system, they should be able to port it into SC, but it won't function because the servers would just, have a stroke and seize up and die. Yeah, they already do that.
I think that's kind of where I guess I desynced with what's actually happening in Star Citizen with the AI. Because I had thought we had basically cardboard versions of what they have in Squadron, because Star Citizen's not done yet, and Squadron is like the main focus. So I'd always assumed up to this point that we just got like yesteryear's version of AI just because it ran.
Yeah, I don't think that they have imported the new AI combat systems yet, like the point system and all that, into SC yet, just because like they're still, it's just like with everything else in Squadron, they're polishing it and getting it up to a certain state, and then once it's ready, then they will bring it over to SC in order to start testing it in a wider environment. The certain things they want to test in order to make sure that it runs well, like at scale, with lots of people testing it, as far as like the engine processing it and it running graphically, so that way it runs on a single player instance of the game. But things like AI, I don't think they will be testing the new combat AI from Squadron in the PU before Squadron goes live, just because I don't think it's one of those things where us testing it in the live server client relationship is necessary for them to release it in the single player campaign once it goes, they release the game. And I think they'll start implementing it. I think they'll start implementing it once they get server meshing in, but they have to have reliably higher server FPS in order for it to make it happen, just because it is a more demanding NPC AI simulation.
Yeah, but I think that, personally, we don't need Squadron to be out for us to get the point system or any of these new AI tech. I think it's independent. Like, they don't really care. Like, they care about the Idris or the, like, whatever ships, the Javelin coming out for spoiler reasons. But I think something like AI tech is, and one of the reasons it's mentioned here in a Star Citizen context, is because they're all right with putting this in, because it is irrelevant of the development of a Squadron. So it's done for a Squadron purpose, and now they are free to pull it in when they can. So I think that they're not going to hold up this AI system because the Squadron's not out yet, like they're going to do with the Idris and the Javelin. Moving on in AI, because there's more. Balancing was done for AI ammunition usage while maintaining reload and ammo finding functionalities to provide realistic and emergent behaviors and gameplay situations. I missed a word somewhere. Balancing was done for AI ammunition uses while maintaining the reload and I don't know what that means. While maintaining reload and ammo finding functionality to provide realistic and emergent behavior and gameplay situations. I feel like they're like missing either a comma or a point to this sentence. You could have just said balancing was done on AI ammo usage.
I do
like they keep describing, but with no punchline.
I love that they are actually doing that and making it so that the AI will ration their ammo and go and find a crate to get more magazines instead of just NPCs having forever ammo like in most games, you know.
So we're gonna keep coming back to this because it's a big game right now. Starfield, apparently, your companion has infinite ammo. So one of the tricks you can do is give your companion a gun that you're always constantly running out of ammunition for. And I just thought of this. You can keep taking ammo out of their inventory, so take it and go out and talk to them again after a firefight. They'll probably have more ammo because it probably just spawns in their inventory. But also, they can continuously use it because they have infinite ammo for whatever gun they have. So, not going to be a thing in Star Citizen. Ammo counts are ammo counts. Item counts are item counts. It's an inventory. I don't know if they talk about it specifically in this monthly report, but inventory is even changing to get more granular, and eventually we're getting closer and closer to that final point where ethereal inventories don't exist, and I can't wait. It'll be really cool. Like I like being able to say, hey, today's my Star Citizen gameplay is going to be all inventory management. I'm going to spend the next 5 hours managing my inventory. I kind of like those days. It gives me like some like backhouse stuff to do. Let's see. The team continued to review, revisit, and polish combat, including low and high cover reload animations for different weapons and female animations converted from male assets. They also began developing animations for Marine Squad and hand signals to sell group movement combat and combat. Group movement and combat.
This statement right here. I am looking forward to seeing this. I want to see UE Marine squads moving out in like CQB on what's the city on Vega 2 or whatever that got bombed and attacked, and that
not Armitage. Oh no. There goes the name. I knew it.
They also began developing animations for Marine Squad hand signals to sell group movement and combat.
What I like about this is not only is it going to give professional combat people that extra, like, you can see they know what they're doing, but like the pirates and civilians, when they have to be in a firefight, it's more obvious they have no idea what they're doing. And like when pirates like flood out of a ship, they're not going to be using hand signals. It's going to be much scrappier. It's going to be much less predictable. And if somebody is trained, if you have like specialists after you, if you're the pirate and you have specialists coming after you, they're cold and calculated, and you know what they're going to do, and you still lose. So I think it'll give a range of flavors of FPS content, and I'm really looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm. So
now we're on to you with AI tech. Also, both in Squadron and Star Citizen.
Alrighty. I zoomed in a lot to make it more readable if you guys are reading along as we are reading. So, AI tech. Last month, AI tech added undo and redo functionality to the Apollo subsumption tool. They also began improving subsumption data validation for better presentation and more explicit validation errors. This will allow the designers to iterate faster when creating or adjusting missions and behaviors. On the Boyd's feature, which is birds, and it stands for something. It's birds and you said it before, Naz. Yeah, I forget. It means something.
Birds,
something.
Rodents, and small moving creatures.
But it's anyway.
Boyd's is an artificial simulation originally developed by Craig Reynolds. Simulation replica was behavior of flocks of birds and schools of fish.
Boyd's crapping all over my car. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if like there's like space seagulls, at the beach, or flying around and over Lorville.
The whales have barnacles. Why wouldn't a resident of Orison also have some problem with not heat leeches? That's a Starfield thing, but like some parasite that attaches to your ship in Orison atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. You're gonna fly my ship up into space and get it washed because I what are those exploding the oni crab things that they explode and crap all over your Origin 400 or something.
Why are you flying an Origin in Hurston? Like, you're already messed up.
Because you're gonna go make friends with the Hurstons because you're a spy. You're an agent.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So on the Boyd's feature mentioned in last month's report, AI Tech continued implementing base functionality to allow agents, rats, birds, etc., to adopt different states such as wandering, idling, or fleeing, and transition between them. They're currently looking for a low-cost solution to keep agents on terrain while moving. For NPC audio perception, the team implemented new functionality for how audio stimuli is propagated. This involves using the room system and how rooms are connected to determine whether an audio event should be heard. They demonstrated this on ISC a couple weeks ago. If you remember them showing how if you're a couple rooms away, you wouldn't hear something, or if you're in the room right next to it, you would hear something. Low cost means low cost in terms of simulating it, because this is AI tech, so it's run on the server, and so they don't want the Boyds to it doesn't want them the computational cost of getting them moving around and doing these behaviors, but staying on the terrain just like how NPC characters do. And I think it means instead of generating a navigation mesh, because the planets are circular instead of like flat like most games, and that's why we have the dynamic generation of the navigation mesh. Well, instead of having to generate a navigation mesh for the rats or the damn prairie dogs, and the boreal parts of Microtech, whatever they end up having, like marmots, we might have space marmots, you don't know. Marmots are adorable. Okay, don't judge me. But you don't want to have to create a navigation mesh and suck up computational resources from the server just for Boyds. So,
not to mention they want dozens of these things on screen at once.
Yeah, and so they can't be having them doing these things and like floating off into the air because they would go straight. It needs to stick to the planet in the curve. They make good clothing too. Wait, not like that. Yeah, I've got a bunch of marmot gear from when I used to do search and rescue stuff. Space raccoons going through your trash.
You mean Drake
marmots
ships?
are? Yeah. Ooh.
That's where I keep all my trash.
Yeah. And so this is for NPC audio perception. So with this propagation system, like if you make a noise, like a room or two over, and the noise propagates into the room that the NPC's in, they're going to turn around and come and explore into that room, come looking for, hey, what caused that noise? And it's not just going to be like a hard barrier at the doorway that says, oh, I'm in this room and they can't hear me because they're in another room. And so that's part of what they're using the propagation system for. And if the NPCs can hear it, other players will hear it too. So that's going to be fun. They also continue to improve navigation links. And I'll explain more about this here in a second. Firstly, how links connect navigation triangles from different zones, which wasn't working as intended. Secondly, they fixed how animations play when they begin and finish in different zones. For example, when NPCs jump to the ground from a hovering ship. Well, we haven't seen that in game yet, but you can imagine that NPCs will be jumping to the ground from a hovering ship like a Valkyrie or a Cutlass Steel. But when they talk about the improving navigation links, if you remember when they first got the NPC reinforcements from the Cutlass in game. It was working and then it just broke and stopped. Well, this is what they're talking about. They're fixing that so that way the links connecting the ship and the surface that the NPCs walk around on, that you need a navigation link for them to go from within the ship down onto the surface, and then that's when it generates the linking is what generates the navigation mesh for them. And so it just wasn't working, and that's why they never get out of the ship. Now they just stand there because there isn't a link for them to tell them to go down, and it isn't dynamically generating a link for them to go use the mesh that has now been made below the Cutlass. And it's going to have to generate a mesh for multiple reasons, not just walking down the ramp. Obviously, jumping to the ground from the side doors. So NPCs will be able to do all of that. So hopefully, probably not in 320. I mean, they also continue to improve it first, which wasn't what was intended. So maybe it got fixed as part of 320. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe it'll come in 321. But hopefully that feature will start working again, instead of making it just so that those guys are just easy pickings. Finally,
fixing in
go for it.
320 is the pileups that were happening.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was one of the things that they had fixed. That's in one of the patch notes for the PTUs. So no longer will they just continue to pile up and land on the carcasses of the other ships and blow up themselves. So no more pileups.
No more pileups. But otherwise, like, how would we, like, without pileups, what are you going to do in your Anvil C8R and your Cutlass Red? Like, the dispatch telling you, oh, we've got a 9 Cutlass black pileup outside of this outpost on Microtech. We need you to respond. We've got reports of dozens injured.
Cares about pirate pileups. Though, if you need people to rescue, check below the new Babbage spaceport. There's always tons of ships blown up there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we off to vehicle AI? Do believe so. Okay, so back to Squadron, and these next two are only in Squadron.
Oh, sorry, last sentence. Finally, investigation began into performance issues relating to the navigation system and Pathfinder. So they've got the navigation system, and pathfinding system in there, but they want to make it so that way it's more performant and isn't as demanding on the server in order to generate this. So this is also part of, it's one thing if it can run, on the single client, local server client relationship that they established for Squadron 42. If you've ever played on a very low pop server at 30 FPS, that's essentially what what Squadron 42 will be like in terms of responsiveness, if not better. But if that is server-side object container streaming working and doing its thing, but they still want to make the all these systems much more performant, so that way when these things end up in SC and they're running via server meshing, it's as optimized as possible, and it's taking as little resources as possible, while still being able to do its job. It's just like optimizing anything else. You optimize the graphics and everything, the animations, making them smooth and all that, but they also have to optimize the AI, because AI really taxes the the servers. That's one of the major things, along with tracking entity state. So, and back to you we're at
AI vehicle on Squadron.
AI vehicles Squadron. Okay.
Why does the document have way more sections than that? Oh, because I messed up. Okay.
Oh, yeah, animation.
Yeah, I added both animation into the same one. It's fine. It's doubled further down, so we're good. All right. AI vehicles. Vehicle AI's priority in August was working through issues preventing the new AI features from working correctly. What new AI features? They don't say. They also fixed faults with the recent aiming system refactor to ensure NPCs shoot correctly and worked with the level designers to fix various miscellaneous problems causing the AI not to work in certain places. Sounds like bug fixing. Sounds like polish work. This is what they're doing. This is just the name of the game for Squadron right now. Is if they're not making content, like if they don't say they're making content, it's what we call beta work. We are hurtling towards post alpha. We are hurtling towards a gold state for this game, and it's weird that not a lot of people are getting excited. It's so weird. Like, nah, it's never coming out. Like, I don't care. Like, who cares about Squadron? I see those like posts every single day on Reddit. It's just like, but guys, it's like it's getting done. It's almost done. They're polishing it right now. Following this, the team will focus on game-wide flight AI improvements as they continue to fine-tune the gameplay experience throughout the flight sections. Like, how many we're done with features, we're polishing it, do you need in one sentence? Like, vehicle AI is content complete. They are now validating, improving, and fine-tuning. Like, it's like the spices when at the end of the cooking session.
That's just saying beta with extra steps.
With extra steps. It really is. Like, it's beta work. What do you want? Yeah. I was talking to some guy on Reddit. Like, they only said beta once. It doesn't count. And that was one team. And they only said it's approaching beta. It's just like I get everyone doesn't know how game development works. I understand. I do forget sometimes, but I understand. That's beta. That's what beta's for. They are, and it's not going to be every team in beta all at the same time. We know animation and now AI vehicle is in beta work. That doesn't mean level design or audio or whatever is also in beta. But they're getting close. Yeah. And we also have Chris Roberts said they're doing some form of tour at the end of next year, around October. And it's not a Bar Citizen World Tour, so, I mean, draw your own conclusions, but, Yeah.
Think of it like a race. And you're watching all of these racers, and not everybody's going to cross the finish line at the same time. And if they're racing to the beta finish line, some teams are going to get there before other teams, and that's exactly what this is. Is you have the animation team mentioning beta last month, but you've got other teams talking about they're basically getting into their work that is essentially beta for them, where they're saying, following this, the team will focus on game-wide flight AI improvements as they continue to fine-tune the gameplay experience. Fine-tuning the gameplay experience throughout the flight sections. No more new features. They're fixing bugs and polishing, everything about AI, the flight section for AI. And if you've ever watched, like when Paul goes over the monthly reports, for Squadron, he always reminds people that they break up Squadron into 3 sections. There's the social section, there's the FPS section, and then the flight section. And so they are fine-tuning the AI and NPC behaviors for the flight sections of Squadron 42. Now, obviously, there's more to the flight section than just the AI moving their vehicles around. But when you go to the other parts related to it, in terms of what the player does, they're also very far along, because that's where the flight model comes in, and the MFDs and the HUD. And if you've been reading the monthly reports, you realize how far along all those other things are, and so one aspect of the flight section of the game is, being fine-tuned, and other aspects from other teams are also reaching that same point. And so the AI vehicle team is a little bit farther ahead than maybe gameplay feature or vehicle feature on the other side, but not by a lot. A smidgen. They're neck and neck. As they're coming down to the finish. So, yeah, it's really really encouraging for all the stuff that says Squadron next year.
Yeah. At this point, I expect them to say a date for Squadron, even if they,
with all the progress they're making, and everybody's like, well, every other game's getting delayed. Every other game has a publisher that's been pushing them to get the game out sooner. If CIG had a publisher, Squadron would have already released.
Yep.
And they'd be patching it and fixing it. Whereas we're at that point where it's
fix.
Yeah, right now we're at the point of where it would be released. We would have already gone past that. And we're past that point now. Now they're in the polishing phase that other games don't get until after release. And CIG isn't going to do that. Like, they've even said it. CR has even said it. Other devs have even said it. It's been repeated multiple times. We're not doing that, and they can't afford to. So
even like another creator was even saying, like, even if they launch straight over their date, it's par for the course at this point. No one's going to fault them for saying, "Hey, we need 6 more months. We need 12 more months for this." Like, we're at that goalpost. We just have a couple things to nail down first. No one's going to fault them because everyone's doing it now. So even if they come to like open CitizenCon, hey, October 10th next year, Squadron will release, and then they get to CitizenCon next year, you're like, hey guys, big sads. It takes 6 more months, 12 more months. We'll release it next CitizenCon. Like, it's when cool. So you have a released candidate, and you're just going to cook it a little longer. I will cheer them so loudly if that happens. I will cheer it if it comes out. I will cheer if they delay it. Like, I will be happy in playing it. Like, I'll basically shut up and take the cake.
Delay it.
I will shut up and take the cake if they release it. No. Like if they delay it from next year to longer. So like, assuming we're now at CitizenCon 2024, if they say, hey, it's not done yet, I'll cheer louder than I would cheer then they release it next year's CitizenCon, because that shows me the devs care about the product. They care about the thing.
See, I think we're far enough ahead that's not, like, to me, they've got a whole year of beta, but I don't think they're going to say CitizenCon 2024. I think they're going to say Q4 2024. And so that way, if they need 2 or 3 extra months, then it is. I don't think they'll put it, because look what Starfield did. They had a date and then they pushed it back a couple months. When all they needed was a few more months. If they just give a range, because they've been giving ranges for everything else. So I don't think
Squadron's different than the project. Squadron is that commercially available, and I don't remember where it was said, and I really should have a reference for this. But somebody said consoles.
It won't be a console at release.
Not at release, no, and almost no games are, except for Starfield. But if the PS4 can handle it for sure, or PS5 can handle it for sure. Like, just this generation of consoles can definitely handle Squadron.
Yeah, I think we would see Squadron to console when Episode 2 comes out.
That would make sense. But like, it's a different. It's not so Squadron. It's not the project that encompasses all of what CIG is trying to do. It's that item that CIG's been working on. It's more mainstream than Star Citizen. It's more commercially viable. It's what they got investors on board for. Is Squadron 42, not Star Citizen? That's a perk. But Squadron 42 is what they got investors for. And the lead up and the advertising for that. So I think they are at a point where they're going to say, I think that's where we end. And if they lose devs or some blocker shows up, they don't know if that's going to happen. They don't know if, Chris is going to have, not Chris Roberts, but a dev is going to have a sick day or two that they weren't planning on. Stuff happens. It's development. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So they could, it is perfectly viable that it gets delayed after whatever theoretical release date.
It could happen, but I think that's why they're shooting for, hey, we're going to have a whole year in beta.
Mm-hmm.
You know, essentially an entire year.
We're already late
if
we're having a year in beta.
No, I mean if they announce that, hey, we're going into beta at or at CitizenCon this year, then we'll essentially have like a year in beta if they release at CitizenCon next year or whatever. You know, because that's a long time for beta. That's a long time. You know, there's a lot of games that do it a lot less, and then we see what happens.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that's why beta for Squadron
Starfield
is
actually
in a better state than beta for other games.
I like how Starfield is doing it, and I like how No Man's Sky was forced into doing it, I guess. And it's what Minecraft did. Like, hey, we had the minimum viable product. We worked for like an afternoon, like a couple months on this product. That's what Minecraft did. And you can do like some stuff. You can place like 5 blocks. And there's a tree in it. There's a tree, guys. And they said, okay, go play that. And they continue to add features and add features and add content. Space Engineers does it. They're like, hey, this is the game, release. And now we have features and content, DLCs every 6 to 12 months. I really like that scheme because it creates the final product of whatever product it is, but then says, hey, we're going to make this new every 6 months.
That's what Star Citizen is, though. That's not Squadron.
I know. Like, I don't know why I got on that. I was leading it somewhere, but yeah. I mean, we're gonna have episode 2 and 3, but that's 2 years out.
Yeah, that's just more story, though, and I don't think you're gonna see a whole lot of new gameplay feature or anything in the extra episodes. I think we're just gonna see a continuation of the story.
No, God, no! Don't do early access. No.
Oh God, yeah, no.
You do that. That is the one thing they could announce to light up the entire internet with hate articles again. Do not release an early access. You can do a paid early let in, like again, Starfield did. You pay extra money to be let in the door early, and do that. Like, give it to like your veteran backers, everyone who, I guess everyone who had like definitely concierge get the early date because they have attributed concierge backers only. But let people pay into it. Let's put a $30 like, hey, you want to get in a week or two early? Pay $30. That'd just be like, it's free money. It's free money. Just let them do it. And I like, even as a concierge, I would be like, yes, let them do that. Let them help fund the next 10 years. Subscribers get the same access as the Gentis.
Let's go ahead and get back to the monthly reports. You transcribed it out of order because you just did AI vehicles and then next is animation, but you have audio on there and then animation by you.
Interesting.
Do you want to do animation and then I'll do audio?
That will help the visuals on their end. So yes.
Okay.
So we have one sentence for Star Citizen, and this is Star Citizen only. In August, the animators worked through a number of behavioral lines for background, ambience, and flight. So this is like the stuff that people shout at you when you shoot them, or background ambience. So milling about in landing zones, something like that. They also supported tech animation on creature skeletons that will eventually, I love the word, be used in the PU, the Persistent Universe. So eventually, like, they have their pipeline. They worked on specifically the Yeti to work on this pipeline. So eventually, well, that's one of the things I wouldn't mind seeing at CitizenCon is a creature walking around the PU.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. Like, it's weird how long. It's weird how
for having
long,
creatures.
Yeah, it's weird like because they want to build a pipeline, because it wasn't just let's take the art or character team and tell them to pump out some creatures. It was, hey, we're gonna make a team, we're gonna make a pipeline, and it's gonna be a whole thing, because it's not just the cow, it's not just the whale, it's not just the yeti, it's not just the Oni crab. It's all of those, plus all the other plants and systems and things that they have to make.
It has to be systemic.
Right. Plus the systems we don't know about yet. All right. Now on the squadron side, the Enemies collaborated with the level and AI designers to close out animations across various locations, including the medbay, bridge, mess hall, and hangar. So all of those have lots of work being done on them. Like I said, worked on closing them out. Not closed out, but work on closing them out. So getting there, getting to that beta state that we've been talking about. They're currently improving the overall feel of player actions through slides, basic movement, weapon usage, and more. This involved adjusting weapon malfunctions, first-person interactions with the environment, such as opening a hatch. I wonder if that means to actually grabbing hatches and opening them. That would be really nice. First select for new weapons and a selection of other animations. So I imagine first selection for weapons are when you pick up a new gun and your character goes, "Oh, that's interesting," and then
you pick it up and it like looks at it.
Yeah, like he does in the Knife in the Morrow tour. Like he picks it up, like, "Oh, that's enough," and then holsters it. I imagine that's what the first select new weapon is, but that's just speculation.
Hopefully, it doesn't do it during combat.
Yeah, just like,
oh god, I'm out of ammo. I need to pick up this gun. Ooh, look at this.
It's like, I'm being shot at, stop it.
Yeah.
Context, guys. Context is key. Additionally,
don't mind me, I'm eating ice cream.
That's fine. Progress was made on combat AI for both enemies and civilians, and animations worked with the narrative and design to get level-specific scenes implemented correctly. I don't know if they had problems before, but making sure that they are correct. The mocap team worked alongside the writers to add the finishing narrative touches to certain areas and support spot improvements on or to AI behaviors. Wow, animation put in some work. On the facial side, the team completed a large number of behavioral lines and performances to bring the flight combat, ground combat, and background ambience to life. Wow, like I said, putting in work. They also progressed with polished tasks for the cast characters. Dang, they're putting in some work this month. Wow, I've got nothing to add. That was very all nicely summed up. Who had ice cream for on bigger card? Oh my gosh, that's great.
I have a sweet tooth. I can't help it. Really, just ice cream and baked goodies, but I don't really do candy. All right, so on to me for audio.
Yes.
Right?
It's a big one, yeah.
And it's all
yes,
Squadron.
I can't wait till you get to the lower third.
Okay.
Fried ice cream? Right. Excuse me, what? Isn't that just melted ice cream?
You've never had fried ice cream?
No, it's melted ice cream. What do you mean fried?
No,
How do you fry ice cream?
Oh, it's so good. Rusty Bedsprings, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Oh, man.
How do you fry ice cream?
I love fried ice cream. Oh, it's so good. Google it while I'm reading the audio.
I just want to know how.
Google it while I'm reading the audio.
Okay.
Throughout August.
I'll be right back.
My poor child. Yeah, no joke. Thanks for joining us this evening. Throughout August, the team worked towards a major audio milestone. The aim of this is to provide sound effects for all the work done by the upstream strike teams and identifies any required post-alpha changes or improvements. So this is them. This is the audio team getting everything ready in order to move into the beta phase and figure out what work they need to do in beta. The tech team made significant progress on the Walla crowd audio system, which is close to first pass complete.
Did they really name another thing after something we already have?
Yeah.
Come Come on, guys.
This system groups
Make up your own
NPCs.
name.
Yeah. The system groups NPCs into clusters based on their proximity, allowing for dynamic, localized audio that simulates ambient chatter. Resonance Tech progressed too, which was detailed in a recent episode of Inside Star Citizen. They also continue to ensure that the game builds remain stable during development so that the devs could work seamlessly. The audio then began tagging the cinematic animations with new Foley sound effects. Foley sound effects. So when I hear Foley, I think of a Foley catheter. You put up people's urethras to drain their bladders, and so I'm
not what it means.
A little confused. Yeah.
Foley is the sound effects in most things. It's basically somebody with a studio just like picking up items saying, "Yeah, that's a good explosion."
There you go.
So
nothing to do with draining the bladder of an NPC.
Nope. There's actually a really good behind the scenes for Republic Commandos, a Star Wars game. And it was one of the parts was with the Foley designers. And so one of the places you fight, predominantly the place you fight, is Geonosius. There you go. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things you find, one of the flavor background things around, are little baby Geonosians. And so when they're running around, you need a sound for them walking around. And they're insect things. So like, what does an insect alien baby sound like? What they ended up landing on is they took cabbages, like small cabbages, and sliced them in half. And like, I think it was a cutting board or something with like a cloth over it. And so they'd like patter around these little cabbages, and that was them walking around. It was like, thump, thump, thump. So they had like, this crunch, but also this squish to it. Mm-hmm. And then one of the guns that they used, which was a Geonosian gun, had this kind of insect-like to it, and it had these legs coming off the sides of it. And because you had that, plastic armor on, whatever the poly armor on, it would tap on your armor. So they actually got like thimbles or like plastic nails, and then tapped on a bowling ball, and that's how they made that sound of this like gun tapping on your armor. So that's what Foley artists do. It's not just one sound for everything. They do layer a whole bunch of them. Like the dinosaur from Jurassic Park is elephants, whales, like tubas and something, like a whole bunch of stuff layered on top of each other to make that single terrifyingly loud noise of the T-Rex.
Cool. This is an integral push towards implementing audible layers to cinematics with bespoke animations such as punches or fist bumps receiving their initial audio pass. I can't wait until we have a fist bump animation. And like, oh man, what if it triggered with your squad mates and you could run up and you could press the fist bump button and it would make your squad mate do a fist bump for you. Oh, the trolling would be so good.
I would love if it was like an opt-in, like somebody would do it, like because that gives you the option to like leave them hanging.
Yeah, would you like to fist bump? Yes or no? Yeah.
Well, just like do the classic use button, and so you like they would be doing it next to you, and you'd be like just hold F or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could
Northern Trooper the.
Yes. That was so good, because I would do that to everyone.
Hey, bro, I need a mag. Hand me a mag. Heart. No, give me a mag.
That would be so good.
The team continued to design and implement effects for a variety of Squadron 42 specific weapons, including the Volt manufacturer, ensuring the sounds align with its bold, high-tech designs. We are excited
now
for the community.
Now we know why we haven't gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
They're locked behind the Squadron curtain.
Yep. We're excited for the community to get their hands on these weapons and feel the brawny impact of a Galson shotgun. Galson being the Screaming Galsons, which is a faction, a gang in Squadron 42, blast, or our Volt sniper. There was also a significant push to create and improve the sound effects for the various puzzles found throughout the campaign. Every puzzle being in some way unique, open the doors to providing distinctive and innovative sounds. In-game gadgets, including the flashbang, also received when do I get a goddamn flashbang? Also received fine tuning.
Point?
Nope. Not that I'm aware of.
I feel like somebody was using them in no, yeah, because I played Squadron before. I feel like somebody was throwing them in Star Marine. I feel like that was a thing. Maybe I'm thinking of some other game, but I swear I've been flashbanging Star Citizen.
Let's see. Where was I?
Flashbangs.
Oh yeah, in-game gadgets, including the flashbang, also received fine-tuning and new implementations. Finally, for audio, they made significant post-alpha. This is for audio, not animation, but for audio. They're saying post-alpha. What comes after alpha? Bravo. Improvements to the game environment, building on what was already in place and providing locations with more subtle ambiance. And back to you for...
Post-alpha. I love that word. So that's 3 teams now that are doing post-alpha work, being animation, vehicle, AI vehicle, and animation. So audio, animation, and vehicle AI.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think it continues with me for character art. Last month,
does indeed, yes.
Yeah, and this is for the PU for Star Citizen. Last month, character art progressed with content for various upcoming events. Wonder what that might be. And IAE, as well as probably, I bet you will have some sort of cool videos at CitizenCon. And assets for the Headhunters gang. Alongside this, the concept artists explored additional ideas for the Headhunters and worked on a medical outfit. Yes, gimme. And handoff sheets for a new flight suit. On to you for ship art.
I feel like they need to expand their character art team. Like, where's all of the clothing in the game? Like, we've seen like 5 or so spreadsheets of thumbnails for character clothing. Like, we've worked on the Headhunters gang, so let's say 5 costumes, a medical outfit, and a flight suit. Really? That's it? That's all you got? Like, I'm sure they're very high quality. I'm sure they're very nice. But like, where's like the tuxes, the suits, the dresses, the shirts, the skirts, like all the stuff we see in all these videos? Like, where's all that stuff? Where's the new stuff? Where's the stuff we see in the concept images for the building interiors? Where's the grungy part of ArtCorp and the high-class part of ArtCorp? Where's all that work? I'm just really
I have a feeling
weirded out
that a lot of that is going to come after they get everything for the character model all done and working.
Is it not done? I thought it was all working.
I feel like there's still more work to do. I don't know, because that is, you hire people fresh out of university to do that, and they don't get paid very much because it's, I don't want to like belittle the work, but it's not.
No, it's art grunt work. No, it's
it's art grunt work.
Call it what's not. Yeah, it's art grunt work. Like, hey, you need to make 5 shirts this week. Like, do it. Like, and because of how the system works in Star Citizen, which is much different than a lot of games, most games, Starfield, like I said, it's gonna be brought up a lot because I love the game. Is you get a costume and you put on a costume, full like costume. With Star Citizen, it's shoes, gloves, hats, shirt or tops, bottoms. Like, you get so much, and you get shirts and jackets, so you can layer them and weirdly. So it's the amount of work per costume is a lot more. So it's more grunt work. Like, I understand like that, but I'm like, where is it? Like, I'm just confused that we're doing like, we have 6 ships in the next section, and 3 outfits for a character. I think characters are a bit smaller than ships. But they have way bigger ship teams than character teams. I don't know. Maybe they're all locked up in Squadron. Maybe I'm completely misreading the entire development. I just, there's no answer to my questions. I just don't know where all the character art is. We've been teased with a bunch of it over the years, and it never showed up. All right. Speaking of those 6 ships, let's count them out if you want to keep track for me while I read this. Last month, the ship art team completed work on the Tumbril Storm. Though they are currently focused on ongoing issues with the treads, they now and how they appear. 2 new variants of an existing vehicle were completed. All new ship progressed through Lightbox, revealing various areas that require updating from the concept, including an increased to interior space. The Apollo Santoki is almost LOD 0 complete. Final updates are underway, including polishing and pilot compartments. The damage pass is also in progress while the rest of the LOD 0 tasks are closed out. Once completed, the team will move on to paints. The X1 is currently awaiting Whitebox review. Those significant changes to item location have already been made to maximize space. Modeling of the gray box geometry began. 6 ships, which all of these are pretty far along. Like the X1 is the furthest away. No, that's not true. The all new ship progressed through Whitebox.
Yeah, the X1 is waiting for its white box review.
Yeah, so the X1's going into gray box, and they've said they already started moving forward while they wait to go ahead. So this all new ship, which has a bigger interior than its concept, whichever concept that was, that'll be interesting to find out. So yeah, 6 ships, not bad, and we already know what those 2 variants are. I'm not gonna spoil it, but we already know what they are from leaks and things. Those would be nice to have. I can't wait to see this Tumble Storm. I want the spread between a Cyclone, a Storm, and a Nova. I want to see that on a field.
Do you think that they will hold on to those variants of an existing ship until CitizenCon, or do you think they'll release with 320?
I mean, I think either is as likely as the other. Because they always like doing by the way, the one more thing with a patch. Like, we're just dropping 2 new ships. Where'd they say they are? 2 new variants exist, were completed. Yeah, so they're done. Yeah, unless they're in CitizenCon, I can't imagine them waiting for them. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, well, it could be used in a demo during CitizenCon, but considering they're just variants and like I'm super excited about one of them, but like it doesn't seem like something that they would use in the CitizenCon demo.
Well, that we had not variants. So the 400i was also teased before CitizenCon.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything's possible. They basically, it's now up to the marketing team. Like, what's gonna get the biggest punch out of them, as far as monetarily for the company? So,
and this is just what they're talking about. There are other things that are in production right now, like the A1 and the C1. We know that.
Oh yeah.
The SRV is like almost done. It is literally
it's at the finish line.
Literally at the finish line. This is just the ones that they talked about for this monthly report, and so there are other things that.
Yeah, I guarantee there's something that they've worked on that is literally not here that they're going to talk about CitizenCon. Like, they might talk about this all new ship. So when it says updating from the concept, that doesn't mean that we saw the concept, because an all new ship reads to me that says we don't know what it is. So they had an internal concept. I've said this a couple times, and I bears repeating. We don't know all the concept ships that CIG knows.
Yeah,
we only know the
concepts that aren't announced.
Yeah, they have probably a dozen or more that are waiting to be announced. Why don't they announce them? For 2 reasons. 1, people backlog, whatever. 2, they want to move more away from this concept sale idea. They're fine with selling flight-ready ships because that's just a not shortcut package. What do they call the MMO packs for people who don't have time to play the game? Time saver packs. So if let's say you have a full-time job, a family, and a hobby already, but you want to play, let's say, Knights of the Old Republic, then there'll be a pack you can get with basic tools that let you do a variety of things in a quick amount of time. That's what they attempted to do with the career packs, which I still am a very I like the idea of career packs. It makes a lot of sense to me. It gives you all the gear you need to spend a half an hour to an hour in Star Citizen and actually get something done instead of having to have inventory managed for 3 hours before you do anything. You get in, you throw everything on your character, and you go out the door. Simple.
It's a good thing they're going to start working on item recovery.
Yeah. I mean, even not. Like, if you go and you lose it, like, you get new ones, and you melt the package. Like, I don't care. So buying of ships on the site is a lot like that. Like, hey, I don't have time to grind for 70 hours to get an Idris. I can just buy an Idris on the site. You just buy an Idris. That's kind of the ship monetization going to. Not concept sales, but flight ready sales. And they continue to move ever closer to that as they finish up old concepts and put less and less new concepts on the store. Okay. Now back to you for one of your favorite sections, the community.
Okay. Pardon me. So, community for Star Citizen. This cool image. All these
like the
random, attacking an Idris.
Pew pew pew.
It's a random image, but I like it.
They had a contest for Idris fights.
Okay. August saw the return of Ship Showdown, an annual month-long event where the community champions their favorite vehicles by sharing original creations on the community hub and social media, which just never ceased to amaze me. The community team hosted 2 contests in support of the event, rewarding the top 10 submissions from the community hub and the top 3 most creative videos on the official TikTok channel. After daily head-to-head battles between the top 16 ships, the Drake Corsair was crowned the ultimate champion of Ship Showdown 2953. Community also supported the Free Fly event, posted updates on the new player guide, and curated media on the Welcome Hub. Early August saw the conclusion of the Arlington Gang Screenshot Contest, where players submitted screenshots following the launch of the Mission Spotlight series. The community team then supported Toby's 22nd anniversary alongside numerous community-driven events, including the Intergalactic Industry and Trade Fair and the Atmo Esports Fighter Flight Tournament, which will conclude live at CitizenCon 2953. With CitizenCon 2953 approaching, much of August was also spent ramping up preparations, with a focus on finalizing the details of the various presentations, venue layout and design, cosplay contests, community booths, and much more. It's been 4 long years since we had a physical CitizenCon, so whether you're joining us in Los Angeles or watching from home, we can't wait to celebrate our shared universe with you on October 21st and 22nd. Keep your eyes peeled as we're finalizing some details and we'll share more information with you very soon. Community team. Pardon me. The team continued to support dozens of evergreen publishes, such as this monthly report, the post-mortem, etc., alongside planning for a variety of future in- and out-of-game engagements to come. If you haven't read the post-mortem, holy crap, what are you waiting for? Go do so. Not right now, after we're done talking, but really good read. Very informative.
So here's your next schedule. You watch us till about 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's what it's going to take a bit, because that's what it takes. You then go to sleep, you wake up and then crack open the post-mortems. Nice morning read right there.
With your coffee, yep. Mm-hmm.
Or tea. Gotcha.
Yeah, or tea. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha tea.
Yeah. Lastly, the team attended Gamescom and a trio of Bar Citizen events in Cologne, Germany. Pardon me. The turnout was unbelievable, eclipsing our Gamescom events in the past. We were so happy to meet so many of you, veteran backers and fresh pilots alike. We hope to see you all again soon. See, there's Star Citizen Jesus again. Hasn't been on camera in forever. Brian Chambers. Talking to all these people in person. Doesn't talk to us on camera. Where are you? There's Jared.
He's doing what the entire Foundry 42 team does best. Works on the game. And they said this basically every other episode they were in. They don't like to be on camera. They are very shy people over there. If it makes them more happy to not be on camera, then by all means do not have them on camera. If it makes some developers more happy to be on camera, put them on camera more. The development of the game, like I said, I'm here for the development. And if it makes the development better that the devs are or aren't on camera, then that's what I'm here for. Don't force people who are super shy and awkward that they don't want to be on camera to be on camera. And don't say, no, you've been on too many times. We're going to get this other team that doesn't want to be on camera on. Let the people come back and do their thing. Just let anyone who wants to be on camera more, and less people who don't want to be on it, less or none. And we haven't had any videos from Foundry 42 in so long. And I have no problem with that, even though that's the brunt of Squadron, and that's a lot of where stuff's moving. We haven't heard a lot of the radar, the map system. That's kind of all in Foundry. That's the Squadron 42 teams. I'm not upset about it. I do hate the Corsair one though. I'm not shocked, but I don't like it. After the first round, it kind of all fell apart for me. The entire thing. It was kind of just disappointment. Yeah.
Back to you for the economy team.
The economy team. Second?
Well, this is the first time they've been...
Second. I thought they were in the last ones.
No, they just got announced.
July reports.
Didn't they?
I swear there was one more. Maybe they just talked... Maybe it was the roundup that I'm thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
Where they had their first roundup? It must have been the
roundup. It got announced
in the month
of... Yeah, it got announced in the August Roadmap Roundups.
And then I think this last one had engine team or economy team stuff in it. I think that's where I screwed up. So their first monthly report. The new economy team planned their upcoming goals. Yes, meetings galore, including rebalancing cargo and the related experience. They also began building a tool to navigate the current state of cargo, which could be expanded to other areas in the game economy, or of the in-game economy, which sounds like double work with Quantum, Odin things. Terrapin was at the top of my list just because.
Turtle.
I always like the 600i. Though I don't fly it much. Arrow's nice, but yeah, that doesn't really have it. It's a basic ship. It's not really anything ship. Those were really the only two ships that I really liked in the whole thing. Because we can't do ground vehicles, so no, I just don't like it. I have no qualms with the Corsair winning, other than Drake bad, but yeah, it just was kind of a disappointment. None of the ships that I like actually made it past the first round, basically, or the second round. So, and I will vote for the Kraken all day, every day. Just nothing else. Heck, I even go Dragonfly. I love the Dragonfly. Just I don't like their mid-range ships. Anyway, I've screwed up.
Yes, you did.
I screwed up again.
You can keep reading and do the Arena Commander feature team.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Screwed everything up. Anyway, features Arena Commander. The Arena Commander feature team polished and supported the upcoming Alpha 320. How much longer do we have to say Alpha? Not very. While beginning stages to While beginning stage 2 of the Arena Commander revitalization plan. God, that sounds like a government plan. Like bulldoze an area and like flood a river. Alongside Patrick, the engineering team support new top heads-up display, which will feature in all new game modes from Alpha 320. These sentences are not how I sentence. They also assisted the ongoing investigation into the return of theaters of war. This involved identifying the steps needed to update the new spawning module with several unique theaters of war features such as spawn locations and multi-crew, and bring them into other game modes. So yes, they are continuing work on theaters of war, and if you're paying attention to ISCs, you'll know that the system we have now for spawning in Arena Commander in 320 came from theaters of war. And so now they have the base underlying function of the updated spawning module that they built with Theaters of War. They have to go back to Theaters of War and say, this is what we need this module to do. The spawning in different locations. And what was the other one? Spawning module in Theaters of War. Spawning in different locations and spawning on the same ship. So those were two features.
The spawn in the turrets and
yeah. I wonder what they're gonna do. Like, I wonder if we'll get like Arena Commander engineering mode for testing resource management. Like, I really like that. Like, it'd be cool. Especially whatever chips we get. Oh, it continues. Sorry, that was done. Work continued on the custom lobby feature. Previously, private matches. So I think it's confirmed, or no, not confirmed. Let me not misspeak. They are working on getting private matches work. They are, I think, targeting 321 or a 320 patch, whatever they can get done. But they're actively working on bringing back private matches, now called custom lobbies. With several successful tests concluded, the team are currently focusing on finalizing the UI design and hookups for the various interactions. Engineering began restoring the spectator module to, which will allow players to spectate matches in custom lobbies and other modes. For example, spectating a player who has lost their respawns in a PvE game mode. So that's something they need to, fix. What happens when that happens? What happens when there's 50 people? Can you spectate enemies? They have all these like edge cases arrive. And, like, what's the UI button to switch your camera view or which player you're spectating? There we go. Design enhanced several outlines for upcoming updates and scouted. I almost read that Scotland and scouted locations from the PU and beyond for use in Arena Commander. They also began investigating the Theaters of War location, Crossroads of Crime, and help estimate restoration efforts. I wonder if that's like a title within the Arena Commander team, Location Scout, and he just like plays the game and like flies around. Oh, this would be a nice location for an X activity. Like, I think that'd be super cool. Like, are we gonna get like I want more FPS games. Like, could you imagine like taking a landing zone, like the main part of a landing zone, and doing an FPS fight in it? Like, that'd be so cool. Like, hey, this is Arcourt Plaza, but like Blackjack versus Ninetales. Like, that'd be super cool. Ninetales got like super persnickety that way.
A gang war in the streets of Arcourt.
That'd be so cool. Even like just using the modular assets and building an Arcourt-like environment.
Hurston Security versus what's the
workers?
Yeah, the workers group union thing. Yeah.
Union. Ooh, that'd be a bit. I mean, that'd be some proper sci-fi commentary there.
Mm-hmm.
The team also addressed a large collection of feedback from the Evocati and PTU regarding the front end and game modes. The front end game mode selection now shows which modes are new, which have REC multipliers, and which had achievements associated with them. Design also progressed with the spawn screen UI for the in-game vehicle selection, which began internal testing. Yeah, it's very plain to see that they do not have UI designers in their team. Like, they're doing the best they got. Like, it's okay. But, like, this is not the Squadron 42 UI team.
No.
And it is very apparent. Like, it is very, like, engineering UI, like design UI. It's designer UI. It's rough. Very rough. I look forward to that, like, facelift when, like, maybe when the UI guys are done with Squadron, they're like, hey, who else needs some help? And, like, we get the facelift update of
20 different dev teams raise their hands and say, me.
Yeah, like everyone else, just like, that was a bad question. Finally, the team helped create several new game modes requested by other teams, including a 2v2 that will host Fight or Flight at CitizenCon. It's a shame. We need a Fight or Flight specific mode. What do you need for it? We need 2 players instead of 1. So it's not duels. It's duels. Okay. I mean, I imagine that was like super easy to implement because like you have dogfighting or you have like battle royale and you have duels, so it's got like just either like take players away from dogfight or add 2 players to duels. It seems simple enough. All right. Features, characters, and weapons. Back to you.
Alrighty. Northern Trooper says, private server match at CitizenCon. You think, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a
so traditionally
thing set up for Reigning Commander.
If they haven't done it, if they don't have the UI for it, or not the UI, but the setup for it, they've already, like, most of the CitizenCon demos were already running on a private server. So basically a version of Star Citizen, like even when they did 3 Days of War, they took their copy of Star Citizen and loaded it onto local hardware that did not attach to the internet. So if they don't have what they need to do a private match, they will just run a local server, like right there on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the problems come with that.
All right. Character and weapon features for Star Citizen. August saw the characters and weapons feature team working on weapon poses. Currently, when a player approaches a collision surface, their equipped weapon is raised to avoid clipping through the geometry. The team explored alternatives where the weapon is lowered, moved to the bottom of the first-person view, and rotated toward the body so it lays diagonally across the abdomen. This is more natural in certain situations, limits clipping, and ensures the majority of the player's view is unobscured, particularly when interacting with screens in the environment. Procedural recoil.
Have you played was it Elimination? The one where we have to hack the computers?
For Arena Commander?
In Star Marine? Yeah, in Star Marine.
No, not in a long time.
Oh boy. You run up to it and you're just like, no, I can't see the screen. I need to hit the screen. So like, it's there. Last Stand. You're right. From Elimination's the other one. Much nicer. Sorry, it's just like that just like made me so happy to hear. Just run up to something, just like, I can't see it.
Yeah, need to be able to put it down at your side or alert, and we jokingly call it in the Marines, alert to the dirt, because you're pointing it down like that. But you're still ready. You can quickly get up. Let's see. Procedural recoil also progressed last month to ensure that the feel of each weapon can be tweaked to make it feel unique. A large number of curves were exposed to the content creators. These curves allow multiple layers of subtle movement and rotation to be overlaid to create a wide range of interesting results. It is a bit of a manual process and requires significant attention to detail, but it can add a lot of personality add a lot to the personality of a weapon features team. So yeah, you're going to see a lot more differentiation between in the recoil and the behavior of recoil between different weapons in the future.
Yeah, I imagine ballistics will have a lot more kick than laser weapons.
Yeah, and depending, recoil, might not just be barrel coming up, from like ballistics, but it could have, more of it shooting back into you, based off of, things that could be, cycling animations that cause the recoil. A lot of different things that could happen.
Yeah, I really like that. They're not only making a recoil module kind of thing, but they're like, hey, this is how we animate recoil. So just like you all can use it, and all these like different like knobs. When you make a new gun, you can use all these to, make the gun different. So it's really cool.
Gameplay features starting with PU and then going over to Squadron, it looks like.
Yep.
Right?
All right. So gameplay features continued their ongoing work on the vehicle tractor beam, readying it for testing by QA. They also progressed with the resource network mentioned in last month's report and supported the upcoming patch release.
Gameplay
so they keep
features.
They keep going back and forth between resource network and engineering gameplay.
Resource network, resource management, engineering. It's the resource network, and the resource network is the system that resource management runs on, and then engineering gameplay is the way players interact with it. And so
but one of the ISCs, they said the resource I think they said resource managing is now called engineering gameplay, but they continue to use resource management.
Yeah. I mean, because resource management is the system, and engineering gameplay is the gameplay that we
network
do
was
with
the
it.
system.
No,
you manage the resources.
You manage through engineering gameplay. You manage the resources as they navigate the resource network. Which is the in-game representation of pipes and cables and such. That's the resource network.
Sure. But if it's in gameplay, they're talking about not the system, but the gameplay, which is engineering. All these things you said are very valid. I'm not trying to say you're wrong.
They're working on
saying,
the resource
they don't
network,
choose
not necessarily
a term.
Yeah, maybe they're not. They're working on the resource network. They're not working on the gameplay related to it. They're working on the way the system functions.
Fair enough. I mean, this is the same problem we had with derelict settlements and derelict outposts and the abandoned outposts or whatever we got messed up before.
This stuff, though, right here, this is this statement. So gameplay features. These are the people that take everything that's being built by other teams and turn it into gameplay.
Yeah, this is like stuff that's within the next 6 months.
Beyond the patch, significant progress is being made on content coming later in the year. So read on for the latest.
Oh, that's where you wanted to tie that in. I was wondering where that was going to come back.
It's one of the examples.
Resource network.
But resource network and vehicle tractor beams. I'm calling it now.
Good catch. I like it. I mean, they're basically QAing it, so
ready for testing by QA. That's for sure coming in 321.
And we already know that the SRV
is done.
Basically done. As far as we know, it's done.
Yeah, we did a great big update, sit rep on vehicle tractor beams.
Yeah, our last episode.
So.
Yep. All right. So over to squadrons. August saw work began on the vehicle radar's landing UI. Everyone cheer. All I think of, the best landing radar I've ever seen is in Elite Dangerous, hands down. Because as you approach the ground, your 2D radar that we have in ships now converts to a 3D radar with your ship, a whole version of your ship, above a 3D terrain. And it shows you that raid inbound. What? I didn't see a raid yet. Maybe it's he showed up. How do you show up before your raid? Anyway, I'll keep going. So it shows you the terrain and how the bumps on it. And I'm confused now. Anyway, I hope they do something very similar to that. Oh, there it is.
Oh, Mixela.
58 people.
Mixela just raided with a party of 58. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate it. Hope you had a great stream. Mr. Swamp Duck. Oh man, what a name. Thanks for joining us this evening. Nazeris and I are going through the Star Citizen and Squadron 42 monthly reports for the month of August. And so we're just reading through those and looking at all the good information that's coming out of those. Mixela, I hope you had a good stream. What were you playing, or what were you up to this evening? But yeah, I appreciate everybody stopping by, coming in to say hey, and hope everybody had a good weekend and is having a good start to their week. Everybody excited for 320 tomorrow? I will hopefully get to play on Saturday.
Yeah. I still wonder if I'll be able to complete a single hull C load.
Mm-hmm.
I keep logging into the PTU and like, hey, can I do it yet? Nope. It failed.
Did some bounties
point.
in a hammerhead and ended with low flying. Awesome.
Nice.
Were you in live or in PTU on 320? This is my first time experiencing an update. Excited about it. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Like first time. Okay. So you're very cool. Awesome. Well, we are glad to have you in the Star Citizen community. I'm hoping that the 320 launch goes. Oh gosh, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I
was going to say, you really want to do that?
Yep.
You really want to say that?
We are glad to have you a part of the Star Citizen community, and I hope that you have a lot of fun in Alpha 320 as it comes out and launches supposedly tomorrow, and we'll look forward to seeing what they have for CitizenCon next month. But yeah, do not jinx this.
They got it correctly. Do not jinx this tree.
The whole sea is on the line. Don't you dare.
However neutered it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, and
it's somewhere to start.
I'm planning on doing and I forgot to mention it before we got started, but I'm planning on doing a relic expedition on Saturday while my kid is napping and my wife is at a conference. Yeah, using the whole sea. We're gonna find so many goddamn relics. You have no idea. But
just find a rock, chuck it up onto the grid. It's like this is useless.
I want to check out all the new locations, the new points of interest that are in, and see what that's all about, because that's like I haven't seen hardly anybody posting about them, so I want to go check those out and see if we can find some relics, because I also heard that like there's been some more updates to the loot tables, and the crates and such.
The opening image is one of them.
Yeah, so
on the
that's what I'm hoping to get done this Saturday. It'll be 1 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Eastern is what I'm shooting for. But I'll keep you all updated via Twitter and my Discord. But yeah,
working.
Yep. Yeah, I work on Sunday, so I got to stream while the kid's sleeping on Saturday, and my wife is at a conference all day Friday and Saturday. So
not bad. You get in when you can until it takes over your life. Mm-hmm. So we are in the middle of talking about the vehicle features team. No, not the vehicle features team. Where are we at? Gameplay features team on the squadron side. So let me restart this paragraph. It says August saw work began on the vehicle radar's landing UI. To begin with, the team investigated rendering the environment outside of the ship in the vehicle's radar display, similar to Minimap. So players can see the area they intend to land on. The geometry will be marked up, so will only display the relevant landing area.
What's really interesting about this is under gameplay features for Squadron. And it's impressive that they're working on this already. And it isn't like, hey, the UI tech team had to build this. No, it's something they are able to make this as a feature using tech that's already built from.
I wonder if that's why they mentioned. I wonder if that's why they mentioned like the mini map. Like that's the tech they're using to make
the mini map and the new radar and all that. Yeah,
because they said marked up so, and that's the exact kind of terminology they used when they were talking about the internal mini map. The ships are marked up so that it just works with all the ships.
Yeah, it's able to scan ship. You know, the yeah.
Please make sure trees are on the on the landing map, guys.
Yeah, well, it'll show trees and rocks and terrain, buildings,
big enough rocks, but not like that's what I said, relevant to landing area. Yeah,
it'll probably just look like how when you scan and ping right now, it'll just look like probably like that, but 3D.
Yeah. I hope to see that Squadron CitizenCon. I keep saying Squadron for CitizenCon.
Yeah.
I hope to see that then. Yeah. For camera transitions from first person to cinematic sequences, the team added the ability to create small track view sequences for the initial cutaway, with smooth transitions to cinematic cameras. For example, if the player is in a cockpit seat, the team can create a camera transition through the windscreen for better visual flow. Thank God they did this. One, it's going to make the fidelity like jump out through the roof, but that point in the vertical slice where they found the downed Avenger, and you just kind of flew up to it, and then it's hard cut, and you're on the other side looking and panning around it. Like that looks so jank. Mm-hmm. And now it will you'll pull up to it and zoom out of the cockpit. Very nice. Or
very cinematic. Yeah.
Yes, or the one in the Idris where the prisoners were coming in and you were at the table where you build your loadout. Your camera should pan out of the window down to the whole sequence. And also, like, you still have the breakaway ability. You can just say, no, I don't want to sequence this. So, and just stay in your thing and watch it from your seat. So, this is going to be cool. I can't wait to see everything about Squadron. I'm super psyched for it. Elsewhere, gameplay features continued expanding crane control functionality based on the new use case. They also made improvements to hints and tutorials, mobiGlas notifications, forwarding to the visor, and mobiGlas linking. Now, crane controller functionality is not just, it cannot be a throwaway device. It can't be that they built this entire controller, this entire functionality, this entire system that they've been talking about for a couple months now, or at least in a couple months, systems, that they aren't going to use it more than a couple puzzles in Squadron. I really hope we are getting a crane function. Like, even the Galaxy has a crane in it. Has a little tractor crane in it. So I wonder if that will also use the crane. I'm trying to keep talking while you fix the thing. So there's the crane in that. There's a crane in the Kraken. And there may be rafts, I guess. Maybe that would use the crane system. That would explain a lot why, even with the cargo refactor, we don't have the functionality of picking boxes up. If we're waiting on this crane tech to mature, that would make sense. There's also my hope that we're missing the big yellow truck from all of the UGF concept arts. So that would be an interesting thing. I really want the mule crane. Just because it makes sense to be able to pick up these bigger boxes and move them with a vehicle, just like the mule. Like the mule is built for 1 SCUs, the mule crane would be built for all the way up to 32 SCUs. And we also have the cranes in the cargo decks, the ones that slide over the boxes straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if you remember, the crane controller functionality is what they intend to use for controlling drones.
Oh, is it also the drones? I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
because they mentioned that in the same sentence like 3 monthly reports ago.
It was in early spring is when they mentioned that, because they had talked about it in like 1 or 2 monthly reports before that, and then they confirmed, like, and I'm pretty sure they confirmed. I'm going to take credit for it because I made a tweet about it, and I was like, hey, is this drones? Because they didn't specifically mention cranes, and then they said it's for cranes, but we're also going to use it for drones. So
nice.
Oh, speaking of drones,
yes.
So I did lore equals gameplay yesterday.
I do believe so.
Yeah, it was yesterday afternoon. I did lore equals gameplay, and one of the articles talked about how the Xi'an use scanning drones for surveying systems and surveying jump points and such. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. The Xi'an have scanning drones for exploration type purposes, whereas in the UEE, not only do we have drones for refuel, repair, rearm, we have them for deploying and maintaining mines, and then we also have research drones. And the drones will also be able to do functions related to mining and salvaging, like in terms of grabbing things and bringing them to the mining or salvaging ship. A lot of functionality just in the grabby arms, but if you look it up on the Galactopedia, if you search for research drones, it's a thing, and so that's going to be a big part of exploration gameplay. I've talked about it multiple times. But
the Endeavor has so much work.
Yeah.
To bring it back up to what it's supposed to be. Like, not only does it need a bigger hangar, and it's going to, I hope it gets like 5 times the size to accommodate actual size ships, but we're going to need a drone bay. We're going to need, like, everything needs to be rescaled. It looks like a spindly mess, and they're going to bulk it up like the Odyssey, like the Hull Sea. And every time they like science, exploration, medical, anything in that thing, like, it gets bigger. The ship just gets bigger every time.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, like, the habitation for the hospital. That was never in the original concept. Like, you have like 20 beds and 30 beds and like emergency rooms. Where are you housing the doctors? They're not sleeping in the hallway. The ship is gonna be so dang big. Like,
so
I'm just gonna rant more. Mission feature with Tree0311.
We're gonna have to do an episode on the on just the Endeavor specifically at some point. But anyway, the mission. So this is for Star Citizen. As we read through this, think about this in the context of the statement at the top. Beyond the patch, significant progress is being made on content coming later in the year. So read on for the latest. They talked about vehicle tractor beams, resource network, resource management, whatever you want to call it. And then the other thing that is the other team that is going like gangbusters, and you can look at their deliverables on the progress tracker because they're an upstream team, and you can see that they're working on a lot of new missions. Some of them, they'll work on until they can get, as much done as they can, and then they'll stop until they get more support from other teams. And other ones will get completed and will get added to the game. But I guarantee you we're going to see more missions in Alpha 321. So, mission feature team spent the month working on their upcoming deliverables and bug fixing for Alpha 320. God, for the love of God, fix the spawning of ship derelicts, particularly in space, for my retrieval missions. Those are my favorite. I love doing them. But the last one I did, the last time I was able to play Star Citizen, I literally had a freelancer, a starfarer, a constellation, and a caterpillar all spawn, their derelicts in space, all spawn on top of each other. It was all mismatched, like, pieces sticking out from the center, and I couldn't do the mission because literally it spawned one of everything on top of each other. I was like, what the F is this? Yeah. So, and I get those are legacy missions. Those are old missions. And so I don't know if they have to rebuild them in the new modular mission tool in order to bring them up to standard and get them to work right. But, that's my jam for when I do single player gameplay. Just me and my cutter and going and doing retrieval missions. Away from the upcoming patch, Siege of Orison received various improvements ahead of ahead of a future release. When would they might want to release Siege of Orison in order for an updated version of Siege of Orison? Oh, I don't know. Maybe over the winter break with 321 while we wait for 4.0. Just saying. With the main focus being keeping players together. Development of Blockade Runner, which will replace Ninetales Lockdown, continued too, with various technical issues considered and planned for. Significant improvements were made to the existing Destroy Bug Stash missions. Destroy Bug Stash. Yes, we're going to be destroying bugs in the game in order to help the developers destroy drug stash missions to ensure mission critical items are spawned when the player arrives. They also made great progress in modularizing the new player experience so that it can be used in any landing zone with the correct markup. This is really important because by making it modular, it makes it a lot easier for them to continue to add the new player experience to additional landing zones that we already have, as well as new landing zones in the future. Sherman on Cascom in the Castra system. I'm
sorry, what? I totally did not hear what that last sentence was, except for new landing zones.
New landing zones. Sherman on Cascom
What are we,
in the Castra system.
Which one?
Modularizing the new player experience so that it can be used in any landing zone with the correct markup.
Got it. Okay.
The steal evidence at Correa and retrieve consignment missions. These, give me. This is what I'm talking about. Steal evidence at Correa and retrieve consignments entered the polish phase. So not for 320, but it means they're polishing them for them to be tested by QA for 321. That's what I'm getting from this. With reputation being hooked up. Oh, hell yes. Work also began on ship restoration missions, which will require players to restore ships to a saleable condition. I'm guessing that means like sellable condition. Data Heist passed another gate review and will enter internal playtesting to ensure the objectives are clear. So lots of missions making a lot of progress. Which ones will make it into 321? We don't know.
To be sold.
Yeah. I think that this mission, the restoration missions, are going to be dependent on expansions of resource management, resource network, and additional ships getting their components added.
I will be straight up disappointed if Data Heist is a freaking Tiger Claw. I will just be disappointed because, like, you're going backwards. We had 5 different crypto keys to do different things. And you said, no, that's too complicated. We're going to give you 1. We're working on hacking. We'll be back later. Okay, here's a data heist mission. Go use Tiger Claw to download data to a random location that doesn't matter anything.
Yep. We're going to get the mission in.
Time?
And they're going to have, this is the temporary way we're doing it until we get hacking. Yep. Sorry, buddy.
I will be putting out so much just salt if this is just a go use Tiger Claw for a loading bar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The ship cargo.
If it's using a Tiger Claw on a machine and it gives you like a hard drive to take home, I will be okay. But if it's just go to location, plug in Tiger Claw, watch loading bar, get paid, we have that already. Do not do that. Sorry, little salt.
Fingers crossed. Maybe they'll show us. ISC in Q4. Maybe. Maybe if you ask really nicely. The ship cargo steel recover hauling mission has been taking as far as it can go until further cargo features are developed. In the meantime, we will make a courier version in which small items are the objective. Interesting. Okay. So we'll see how that plays out. But they're saying they're going to make a current version with small items. So it's going to be interesting to see how those differ from retrieve consignment. But yeah.
My question is how it differs from the salvage missions just without salvaging. Like that's what people are doing in was it 318, 319? I think it was 318, where they would pick up salvage contracts and just loot the stuff out of the cargo hold and just go home. How is this different from that? Or is that this? That one I wouldn't be as disappointed if it was just that as a mission.
Yeah.
But like, don't give me this crypto key to download data. We have screenshots of the devices for hacking.
We just don't have the game.
Don't do backwards.
Mixela says, "Do you know if they figured out the audio issues? Which audio issues?
Which one?
Yeah. Are you talking to about a specific mission or feature or something?
I don't know. I'm so upset. I'm so upset about this.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. You get upset when we know.
I'm trying to be open-minded, but like, I see the writing on the wall, and I'm upset.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wrong, I will eat my words. I will write them down on a piece of paper and eat the paper. I will literally eat my words if I am wrong on this.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's going into internal playtesting, so... Oh, when I quantum, it's silent. When I'm done quantuming, I hearing. Ah, okay, I see. So they are doing an entire rework of the quantum system. So
are they currently working on that? I know there are some bug fixes were put in for quantum. I don't know if it was specifically audio.
I would say, Mixela, check the patch notes for 320.
All of them.
Yeah, and see if they have done fixes for that, but they are reworking the entire quantum system, and so don't know if that will. Yeah, my audio is wild on PTU. There's a lot of things that are usually very wild on PTU, and I enjoy playing PTU because I enjoy testing and providing feedback, but a lot of times it's like, whoa, okay, this is, and then the experience can be wildly different when it goes to live. So but the quantum travel is getting we can pull it up real quick. So I think it's just called the quantum. Oh boy, it's all zoomed in. Quantum travel experience.
Needy cat is needy.
Oh, hasn't got any work in a while. A few quarters, so but it's a lot of.
Oh, interesting. Physics teams, SQ. Oh, it's Squadron. Wait, SQUI.
Yeah.
But it's a Star Citizen feature.
Well, I mean, they're the only UI team, the UI feature team. It's just called that.
True. But.
And that could just be
the fact that they were able to get time from them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I think this is as far as they've taken it, and they're going to take it further when they get more time. Network. Yeah, but they are going to be updating the entire quantum travel experience. Question is, when will that get added into the PT or in the PU? Don't know.
I really imagine keep an eye on what resource network items they're working on. So right now they're working on fire, power relays, and oxygen.
So
those are the main things that's the main stuff they're working with. I think shield computers are next. I think so. When they start working on the quantum drive, I imagine that's when that will get to the finish line. In my humble opinion.
Oh man, Mixela, you're new to PC and Star Citizen. Wow.
Welcome.
You are taking on a lot all at once. I'm not wearing a hat, but hats off to you because that's a lot to a lot to absorb. Question: did you get into PC gaming because you wanted to try Star Citizen, or did you get a PC and want to do PC gaming and then you found Star Citizen afterwards? Built my PC so I could play SC. Wow, dang, that's impressive. Very cool. So you didn't have like a gaming PC before? Did you like? Did you do like content creation like on console before that? Because I know there's a lot of people that do, they stream from Xbox and PlayStation and stuff. Double the excitement. Yeah, that's impressive. Again, welcome to the Star Citizen community. It's Nazeris and I have, yeah. I mean, like back when they first released the Hangar module, I built the first desktop that I had built in almost a decade, because I had just had gaming laptops for years, because I always had to travel so much for work, and and so I'd never had a desktop, and so and gaming laptops aren't super powerful, and they're a bit
unless
of a
you
pain.
pay twice as much as a desktop.
Yeah, and they get SC looked like Outer Space DayZ on steroids, so I needed to play it. You're not wrong.
I mean,
yeah, and it's there.
I've not played DayZ, but from what I can recall that I know about it, like that's not DayZ and Grand Theft Spaceship is pretty apt description of the game.
Grand Theft Spaceship, yeah, the sandbox. You stream battle royale games and DayZ from Xbox. Very cool, awesome, yeah.
So it's not a big jump from Xbox to PC. So,
it's in general, like the summer is sort of like the doldrums of Star Citizen news or development news, just because they're ramping up for CitizenCon in October. It's the third week of October this year, and that's when we get great big dumps of information and video and visuals and stuff, all sorts of things that they're working on. Yeah. But
and a lot of the information at CitizenCon we'll be talking about for literal years. Like we're still talking about the presentation from 2017, 18, because that was the full roadmap of all of their hopes and dreams. And the reason we're still talking about it, and why it's come up a lot recently, is that roadmap ended with server meshing.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about all the system
reaching a crescendo with a lot of features and big tech initiatives, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, the keyboard and mouse definitely takes a lot of getting used to. And the good thing is they're changing some keybinds, and hopefully they won't be changing too many more. So hopefully you won't have to relearn things. If you just built a gaming PC and you're used to playing on a controller with sticks, like, obviously keyboard and mouse for the FPS portion of the game. But if you're really wanting to get into the game and you really want to get into the spaceships, get you a set of sticks and start learning to fly that way. It's a ton of fun. It's worth it, especially for the experience. And, it takes a lot of saving for a host hat. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
Just got to do the whole gambit in 1 year.
Yeah. Lots of ambition. I like it.
Straight from console to PC enthusiast, just 1 year.
Oh yeah, low flying is incredible. I'm a I geek out for dropship piloting, and so I love my Valkyrie and just flying fast and low and hugging the terrain, and going through mountains and canyons and doing that sort of stuff, especially if I'm approaching.
In Commander, I'm actually really decent pilot. That does not translate well to PU, but gosh darn it. In Raid Commander, I'm actually decent. Like I can actually read the terrain a lot better at 60 FPS. Shocker. But for some reason, it doesn't translate well to playing in live in the PU. I don't know, but I figured out today that I am actually a decent pilot.
I'm a decent dropship pilot when I have time to play, but I always it takes 2 play sessions to knock the rest off. I heard they're adding basically a gun game mode in Arena Commander. Yep, which is the sort of
it's super fun. It is super fun.
Yeah.
It's super annoying when like somebody's like having their day, like when they're just on fire, and you're okay, you're like decent at the game, but somebody's just on par, and so they're like getting twice as many kills as you because it ends after when anyone hits 17 kills. So just like you get in and someone goes and done. It's like I wasn't here for that long.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be.
But it's such a fun
looking forward to
mode.
trying all the updates to Arena Commander with 320. I'm hoping I'll have a good amount of time next month over the next couple of weeks and next month to really sink my teeth into it. Like, so Mixela, for context, I didn't start streaming or anything until fall of last year because Nazeris and I started the podcast, and I was like, oh, you know what? I want to learn how to do this, and I had a bunch of, I had sunk some deployment money into a new gaming PC, for playing Star Citizen when I got back, and then I sunk some more of that money into the stream setup, and so I've got the lights and the camera and the microphone and the stream deck and the Tobii eye tracker and the HOSAS setup, and my sticks are just Thrustmasters. They're the cheapest thing I have for all of this, but it's once you get started and you're like, oh, this is so much fun, but oh man, I really want to try it doing this. Yeah, I went to Afghanistan in 2019, 2020, and so I deployed and I re-enlisted over there. So I bought myself a series of presents over a 2-year period following that. Yeah. Speaking of, we're raising money for StackUp.org, a nonprofit 501c3 charity that helps veterans and service members promote positive mental health and suicide prevention through the power of gaming. To donate, click here. And we just passed the $1,000 mark just the other day with our donor drive for StackUp.org. So have to do the plug. Sorry, tangents. Tangents are fun.
Yes.
Let's get back to the monthly report. So this is something I'm excited about, and I'm hoping makes it into 321, because they've been talking about this recently when they're on SCL. The team progressed with reputation-based hostility, devising a mission that allows players to work for the Ninetales gang. Once completed, they'll convert most of the nameless criminal missions to Ninetales until further gangs are added. Elementi... I'm a flight medic, so no. And I would prefer if we didn't ask more questions like that. Code work was completed on the highlighting and filtering of mission critical items in the inventory. Ooh, that'll be handy. That way you don't accidentally drop things and then they fall through the planet and you never get them back. This was handed to UI for their pass. Finally, tasks for ship trespass progressed, with nested trespassing being the main thing holding it back. Oh, okay, so I know they had was it 319 that they were trying to get ship trespass into, right? Or was
that?
Or was it 320? Because they was on the release view and then they got pulled.
Yeah, that was 320. Yeah, 320.
Yeah, so it got pulled. I wonder if it'll get added back onto 321.
When the column's added, I bet it would.
Yep. In the chat, not the stream for this. We talk about Star Citizen on this podcast, video games in general as well, but this particular episode is Star Citizen specific. So if you want to talk politics, take it somewhere else, but this ain't the place for it. And so that's it for mission features. But yeah, mission features is definitely one of the ones where related to things coming later in the year. This is the mission features is one of those teams, along with like the Arena Commander feature team, where they are getting a lot done. That's going, gets added to the game in a timely manner. So, and that is, that's it for mission features. And so now it's you for vehicle features starting, here on the Star Citizen side.
Yep. All right, last month the team assisted with bug fixing and stability for Alpha 320 and beyond, including getting the MISC Hull C ready for release and completing smaller feature work for upcoming ship release. Definitely doesn't mean tractor beams. The designers then tuned how racing ships perform in atmosphere to bring them closer together and converted more ground vehicle to the new physics model, which allows more realistic behavior than before. The mass of size 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3 out. Sorry, cat. The mass of size 1, 2, and 3 items were rebalanced for better consistency across ships, loadouts, and to improve the tractor beam gameplay of removing and replacing items. Smaller vehicles and weapon balance tweaks were also made. A lot of tweaking of different things to make sure everything's balanced with each other. Racing ships, ship loadouts, the mass size. So basically, what a tractor beam can carry for 1, 2, and 3 ship-based ones, I believe. And getting stuff worked on for the Hull C and 320.
Yeah, the size 3s are going to be the ones where you have to eventually, this is what John Crew said, the size 0, 1, and 2 will be able to be moved with tractor beams. And they didn't specify what size tractor beams. So they could eventually make it so that size 2s require the two-handed tractor beam tool, size 0, and you can do the small, size 1s with the one-handed, and size 0s you can carry by hand or something like that. And then size 3s are going to require, for them to be replaced or repaired, you'll eventually be able to repair components by replacing subcomponents and fuses on them. But in order to replace them, you'll have to take it to a station. And for size 4s, which are capital class components, you'll have to go to a specific capital class dock, not just any station. So
I wonder, because they have the whole system of like a constellation would take 2 SRVs to move. At least that's what the concept art showed. Mm-hmm. But like that's at least the precedent of ships being big enough to need multiple tractor beams to move. Will we be able to up the size we can move if we have multiple people with tractor beams?
Yes, because they did say that that's one of the things that they're working on for the tractor beam tech, is that multiple people will be able to use their beams on the same item and combine their power. It's just going to be difficult to coordinate, but that it's sort of like it's additive in the amount of mass that you can move. So that's going to be interesting.
If you're lifting 100 pounds, that means that item that's 200 pounds now only weighs 100 pounds because anti-grav. If you're lifting 100, there's only 100 left over to lift. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, because they did demo that in that one ISC. They talked about how that's going to work, and that's one of the things. And Jake has repeated multiple times, and they said it in one of the monthly reports, where when they add in vehicle tractor beams, it's going to add a lot of improvements to the tractor beam functionality in the game. So not just the vehicle tractor beams, but also the ones that we use by hand. And I'm really hopeful that we get the two-handed tool come out when that comes out, because they did nerf
the crap out of the handheld one.
Exactly, because that is the plan. Because the two-handed one did get some UI work done a little while back, like a couple months ago. So
yeah, they're just like, hey, we're just gonna quadruple the power of it because we don't have the other tool in. So
like the Power Rangers. Yeah.
So moving over to Squadron.
It was vehicle features. Yeah. Okay.
Vehicle features. Last month, vehicle features worked towards closing out the self status UI. I can talk, I swear. Closing out the self status UI, filling the missing features in various screens, including information on quantum travel and fuel. They received support for the UI art team on this to improve the visuals and ship rendering. Related to this, the turret variant of the self-status MFD can now render a 3D model of the turret. Neat.
Oh,
which will also be improved by the UI artists in the near future. What?
I totally missed it. Chrome Dome donated $25 to stackup.org. Thank you so much for the donation, Chrome Dome. I really appreciate it. Cheers to you. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. But thank you so much for the donation to StackUp. And just for reference, if this is your first time hanging out during the podcast or checking out the channel, not only can you donate directly to stackup.org via one of the links that's in the chat or the little charity button thing if you're on like browser watching on Twitch, but also any and all monetization I receive from Twitch and YouTube goes directly to stackup.org. I donate 100% of it every time I get a payout. And usually, like if I get a payout and it's like, 60, 70, 80 bucks or something like that, I'll just round it up and make it an even $100. I donated my June and August payouts this last week, and I rounded it up to an even $150, and that's what got us over the $1,000 mark. So just so you know, just by suffering through ads while hanging out with Naz and I, that ad revenue goes 100% to stackup.org as well. So, or if you want to sub, that too. Yep. And then you don't have to suffer through ads. Unless the ads are really good. I'm doubting they are, though. I'm guessing that Twitch puts some pretty lame ads.
Well, they're not as bad as Twitter is right now, but they're pretty obnoxious most of the time.
Yeah.
All we get on Twitter now is mobile games and gambling. Wow, and then there's the gotcha games with people. Mobile games and gambling. That's all we get on Twitter now because all the ad people are like, yeah, you're going down a hole. We don't want none of this.
Yeah.
All that work the guys did, the teams did to get Twitter in a respectable place for ads just tanked. Apparently, there's a possibility that Twitter is actually going to go full paid to access. Like, tell me you don't want a platform anymore without telling me you don't want a platform anymore. It's the town square. Bull! It's great. I love to see, like, it's just a train wreck. It's just a train wreck where no one gets hurt except for the employees that are, like, working at Twitter. But, like, they're overworked currently, so, like, being fired might be a better option. Oh, boy. Unfortunately, like, the new CEO, like, you might have a black mark on your record for the company goes under. Anyway, the vehicle loadout terminal is approaching feature complete. That's interesting. Closeout feature complete. With the addition of special features for group equipment items. For example, changing a single thruster. Excuse me, what? Will change others if required. Excuse me, what? Changing thrusters? That was on the roadmap like 3 years ago.
Yeah, we haven't seen hide nor hair of that in a long time.
I want to hear more about that, CIG, please.
Mm-hmm.
Or equipping a specific missile will automatically swap the correct missile rack. Ooh, nice. I like that. Additionally, the UI art team is creating a 3D augmented reality display for the vehicle loadout terminal. This will be located in the Idris's hangar. In the Idris hangar, where players can customize their ships. And we've actually seen a ridiculous image of this, where you walk into this spot on the floor and it pulls up it's like stadium seating around you. This giant wraparound UI where you have giant icons, so very readable. Ship categories and you scroll through them, very sci-fi like. I want to see this in VR. I want to actually like do the whole hand swiping like that. I want this so bad. Oh man. So let's see. The vehicle feature began looking into changes to vehicle aiming, exploring a feature similar to ADS. This will allow players to zoom in on their target and receive additional aiming assistance to target subcomponents or line up a better shot. This is still being explored. That's really cool. I really like that too. I really like that.
Here, I found it.
Play it.
This is like a clip from it.
Was this one showed off at CitizenCon? Yeah.
I don't remember when they showed this off. Was it at CitizenCon?
I like how so other than this site that you're on right now, you have to go back to the original video because nobody has it. It's super weird, but like this article is not a CIG article. This is just, wow, look at all the technology that Imperium Games is putting into their UI. It's an article. It's a news article. And it's like that's the only place you can find other than the original Cisco.
Sorry, this is super bad quality. It's not the original YouTube video.
Cards are amazing. There it is. I need this now. Yeah, I know, right?
And obviously that wasn't the Idris hanger, but
wasn't it?
No, that was way too big to be the Idris hanger. That was, I think,
Bengal hanger.
Yeah, it looked huge, but maybe it was.
What color was the floor? Did you see what color the floor was?
I don't know. I'd have to find the good looking version to be able to tell.
Well, white, because white's the Idris hanger, and then gray is the Bengal hanger, or green. The Bengal doesn't have a white floor. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I can't. UI stuff just gets me so riled up. Where was I at? Progress was also made. Yes, progress was also made on the Resource Network. Again, Pegasus. Don't you dare say Pegasus, because Pegasus is not till Squadron Episode 2. No, get out. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear anything. Shush. Progress was made on the Resource Network, where the team provides support for various vehicle items that use fuel and power, such as quantum drives and thrusters. So, like I said, Resource Network, when they start to do the quantum stuff, we might get the update quantum thing. So, maybe soon. Thrusters using power is one of the more complicated aspects of this. So, get out of here! Stop it!
Pegasus?
No.
Pegasus?
No.
Sorry, spoilers.
No. I refuse. I frankly refuse. So we're still working through it, vehicle feature team. Lastly, vehicle features support level design on their gameplay sequences, providing bug fixing and technical support for new, smaller features to aid with building out levels and experience. No, it's not the Pegasus. I really like the ADS for ships.
Yeah, kind of like they have on Starfield.
Yeah. Except I imagine this will be a more dynamic version.
Yeah.
Like you'll get target and then you sub-target, but then you ADS to target. It won't be the gunslinger UI from RDR2.
Well, and like this is Squadron, so you're doing this, you're a fighter. And you're not aiming down sights to try and hit the power plant on another fighter. It's just not going to happen because that's, a very, very small target on a fast moving vehicle. This is aiming down sights to be able to zero in and shoot it where a specific component or other, target is on a large ship, aka like a large or capital ship like that, from a distance. All right, so gameplay story for Squadron 42. Most of gameplay story's focus throughout August was on supporting the strike team with improvements and additions around the Idris. This involved refactoring and supporting the recently created deck crew track views and adding additional idle animations and improved prop interactions to the mess hall scenes. They also spent a few days working on new turret content to add additional life to these areas. New mocap was used to incorporate several dialogue changes to character scenes requested by design. They also created several resolve and out of animations to help characters exit their scenes and return to AI control. Towards the end of the month, the team switched focus to preparing for upcoming narrative shoots. We have about 20 new gameplay story scenes being recorded, and we are keen to ensure the resulting data can be implemented as smoothly as possible. And that's back to you for graphics and VFX programming, which is both. And we'll just keep it on the Squadron side because it's all, yeah. And then it's back to me for level design.
All right. So, in August, improvements were made to the initial implementation of the temporal super resolution. So, for those who don't know what temporal super resolution is a way of calculating a frame based on the movement over time, being able to scale that into a super resolution, being a over-resed version of your screen. So, if you're at 1080, they can use a temporal solution or I think most of them are AI. I don't know if all are AI. Basically, NVIDIA does it with their AI cores. A way to just check the two last frames, and say, this is what the next frame is going to be. Render that 1080 frame at 4K. That's what super resolution does, and that's how they read it temporally to get it bigger. Further progress was made on water. I don't know. With the shaders gaining improved lighting, and foam. Foam is a very, very important part of water, because if you guys have ever seen like rendering, I've seen a couple of rendering essays on water. The difference between a really good render and a realistic render is the foam. It really is. Like, once you turn on foam, it just looks so much more real. So good to see that we're getting foam. Work on the simulation continued too, with foam propagation and bullet impacts being supported as well, or being bullet impact support being added. I want to say that backwards. I can't wait. Like, that's just some nice background flavor. Really good. The prototype of the glint shading model was completed and comes in 3 versions with different performance characteristics. The team are now investigating whether they can take one of these into production. Distant lights are now drawn as tiny bright glows that pass through the existing post-effect system, with the aim of replacing the more traditional composite flare system that can support post-effects, or that can't support post-effects. So hopefully making more performant while actually gaining quality as well. Basically what the entire graphics team is built for. Better visuals at less performance. On the tool side, the streaming debugger was expanded and now provides a powerful tool to track detailed history of any asset or group to diagnose issues and facilitate optimizations. The mesh setup editor was also expanded to allow finer grain control of how animated meshes are imported. So not server meshing, but animated mesh or models. The Vulkan subteam added new extensions, including Synchronization 2, Maintenance 4, the Timeline Semaphore to improve various aspects of the backend. Focus is now shifting to unblocking progress on global illumination, as the ray tracing component is Vulkan only. So they need to make sure that everything is hooked up so they can go Vulkan only, so they can get GI in there, so they can get ray tracing. That is that's their path right now. Their path is to make sure they can get Vulkan mainlined and always on, so they can do GI and ray tracing. So, for those who missed the announcement, HDR is confirmed for being in 320. So tomorrow we'll be able to turn on HDR, which was one of those things back on the old Squadron roadmap, was HDR support. So ray tracing and GI is obviously in that kind of Squadron release graphics candidate, which is actually a really cool thing. So if you imagine like any game that wants to release being called high quality right now, has GI, has super resolution, has ray tracing. So they're checking off these boxes to get those kind of like add points, those like release points for Squadron 42 when it releases. So kind of like Cyberpunk. I know Starfield had FSR, but Bethesda kind of doesn't count in here. But like Call of Duty 20 something had ray tracing. Not Dying Light. I think it also had ray tracing. Metro Exodus had ray tracing. Like basically, if you want to have that, like you're a quality game, you have to have ray tracing now. It's like you get put in a different bracket with like news outlets if you have ray tracing or don't have ray tracing. So it's good that they're seem to be closing in on it pretty quickly.
With the way Star Citizen lighting works and the environments not having ray tracing definitely shows it, just because of the ray tracing, global illumination, all of that. You have the star and you have planets and interior and exterior environments, and it's it'll look a lot better.
As long as we don't get the eyeball tracing of Starfield, I don't know what that is.
No, it's fine if the eyeballs are moist.
Which we do have. They have worked on moist eyeballs in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I look forward to ray tracing
they are.
Star Citizen.
The NPCs are possessed, and it's weird because like sometimes you'll look at them and they'll look good and the facial animations are good, and other scenes it's like this is not what they wanted or intended at all, and no one.
I mean, that's what you
this.
get when that's what you get with a procedural animation system. Like you get that, like some days will be good, some days they'll be talking and then like without like weird, like they'll be saying in the middle of a sentence and they'll like make these weird facial animations. It's like that had nothing, like your expression had nothing to do with what you were saying. Or like the eyes will be just like slightly off, but because we're human, we're built to like see that, like where the eyes looking. And the one thing that bugs me is their eyelids don't move. There's a blink and there's sometimes a squint, but it's very like when you are like your eyelids are always moving. Like when you're talking, when you're looking around, unless you're like focused, and that focus does not last for long. And when you look around, your eyelids will follow your eyes. And that Starfield just does not have that. And so you're staring at these people in these conversations, and their eyes are always the same amount opened unless they bring their eyebrows down. And it's so weird. Like I was watching one of the characters while I was doing conversations, like, that's the problem. Their eyelids don't move. That's it.
It's like they've had a lot of injections in the brow, and they literally can't close their eyelids. And
it was weird that I was able to figure it out and pick up on it. And now I want someone to do eyelid animations for them, because it's so much of a conversation is seeing the expression in the other person's face. So. Let's see. VFX programming team implemented smoke spawning on fire along with various other quality improvements to bring the feature to a visually complete and rather impressive state. Visually complete. Fire is VFX done. Nice. Hopefully we will be getting fire gameplay-wise done very soon. Finally, improvement.
Was it
finally
in
further improvement? Yes. What?
Here.
Not for fire.
Where was the fire part?
The one I just read?
Yeah.
Second to last line.
There we go. Okay, yeah, the smoke spawning on fire.
Mm-hmm. Bringing the feature to a visually complete state.
Yep. Yeah, it's visually complete. It requires other parts from gameplay, but it's visually complete. And they talked about that in the VFX ISC recently. How
there are technically two dresses in the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's the medical gown and the one worn by the rep at Omega Pro.
Yep.
Those are the only two we got. So if you can find a way to knock out the rep at Omega Pro, you should be able to get the dress. I've not found a way to do it, but you can get vehicles inside.
Ultimate forbidden loot.
Ultimate loot. Ooh.
But
Honestly,
I'm just looking forward to seeing
the fix for that.
I'm looking forward to seeing the smoke spawning on the fire. Time to knock you. Bitch, I need your dress.
I have an 8:90 flight later today. I need that.
Yeah. I have a very important event to go to. I have an interview with Tisa Pacheco. And I have to have your dress. No, that like how many times has Buster the Destroyer talked about that? Like, where are the dresses?
Yeah, I mean, me and her, I forget what stream was on, but me and her basically just talked about like characters for like 3 hours.
Yeah, Captain Sable. I remember that episode.
Was it?
Yeah,
I remember like she was on one of my streams as well, and we would just keep talking about it. Like I said earlier, like where's all the clothing? We have 3 things of clothing in this monthly report. 6 ships, countless features. Where's the clothing?
It's I honestly don't think that the character art team is as much of a financial priority for CIG right now. I think that's going to be a priority to grow that team later on in the game's development, which sucks, but
maybe. Okay, so here's a tinfoil hat for you. The reason they would prioritize clothing later in a post-launch scenario is we have the ability to buy in-game credits on the website. People are going to hem and haw all day about clothing being sold on the website. But if it's in-game, if they start releasing tons and tons and tons of clothing in-game, and then start nudging people at those credit cards, the gift cards to buy credits in-game, so you can buy the in-game clothing with credits that you bought on the website, that might make a bit of sense. Instead of selling clothing directly on the site, which would make people mildly upset. Yeah, we've had cloth physics for a while. We have capes, we have trench coats, buckles and things hanging off of suits. We've had cloth physics.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things where they'll grow the team later, and they're still working on the pipeline for it. But when they're ready, they'll grow the team later, and we'll get more stuff. But it just it's unfortunate that it's not a priority just yet. Which and the other thing is I think the bigger priority is they're working on the NPC wear first for factions more than just the stuff that we can buy.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Was that it for graphics and VFX?
Finally, right? Further improvements to lighting effects were made, which will be used in the future with gas clouds. Neat.
Yeah, lightning.
Level design.
I want my ship to get struck by lightning. Or better yet...
I said lighting, not lightning, but yeah, you're right. No, is it light? No,
further improvements to lightning effects were made.
Lightning. Yeah. Okay, I read it as lighting.
Mm-hmm. And we already have gas clouds, so let's get that brought over. Sooner rather than later.
That's in both. That's in Cortex, so...
Yeah, make it happen. I mean, how cool would that be for Xenothreat? Well, yeah, Pyro obviously too. But,
it's a Pyro thing.
You're flying around in the gas cloud around the Jericho, and you go through like some really dense parts or something like that to find a wreck, and your ship gets disabled or temporarily, shorted out. You have to, turn it off and turn it back on again, because you got zapped by lightning, powerful space lightning. Anyway, level design. Last month, and this is for Squadron 42, last month, level design continued to focus on the Idris interstitials. So this kind of links back to that Idris strike team that they talked about. They are doing what they need to do to wrap up the capital ships and the different environments in them, get everything set and ready to go in Squadron. Outside of scene maintenance and updates, the social narrative team worked closely with AI content, pushing hard on crew behaviors. This included supporting the implementation of background vignettes in the Idris hangar for use after a player lands. These include the deck crew pushing ladders up to the Gladius and climbing on top to carry out maintenance, refueling the ship, and carrying out cockpit and weapons checks. The same was done for pre-flight vignettes, with the deck crew prepping the player's ship for takeoff with thruster and weapons checks. The team also started working on having the previously static Idris moving during interstitials, which is subtle but makes a difference. That's the crazy thing is, during all this stuff, interstitials being the scenes and things that are going on in between your missions. So you're back on the Idris, and you're doing your the social aspect of the game, the social module of Squadron, and it's not like the Idris is just parked there in space and you're in a level and then you load back in. No. The Idris, the level that you're in, is moving around in space to its next objective and stuff, and navigating around while you're walking around in it and talking to these NPCs, and they're working on your ship, and you're getting your next mission briefing. If you look out a window, you're flipping moving, through the Odin system, whether you're flying in normal space or quantuming around, like that's just insane. Mixela says, well, I'm off to bed. Hope you have a great night. Thanks for all the info. Yep, thanks for joining us. Thank you so much for the raid, Mixela. I really appreciate it. We are very glad to have you in the Star Citizen community, and thank you for cheers to joining the PC Master Race. I hope you enjoy Star Citizen Alpha 320 and the upcoming CitizenCon. But we really appreciate the support, and we're glad to have you, and glad to have all the people you brought with you. I hope you had a good stream, and it's really been a pleasure having you be aboard. And everything gets uploaded to my YouTube later, so feel free to check on by later or join the Discord. But absolutely. Cheers. Have a great evening. Get some rest.
Night.
So that's it for level design.
I imagine
Squadron.
the Idris interstitials are going to be time limited. Like they'll be, hey, welcome back from your mission, debrief. Okay, here's our next objective point, moving the Idris there. You have X amount of time to get there. Because like every designer wants narrative to happen on its clock. Like if you were to load into Breath of the Wild and say, Ganon's gaining power, and then put a timer up at the top of the screen, like you have 24 hours until he's at full power and you will lose the game. A lot of designers really like that. I am also a designer that really likes that kind of narrative imminence. Like you can't just like we have to find like the pirates are taking over the system. You are conscripted into the UC Navy to go go play as a pirate so we can get intel on them, and then just nope out for 3 weeks, like. Because that's what I did. It's like, oh yeah, no. And just like I went and scanned the entire Sol system. Yeah. And you are almost forced into it. So because I found the lawful way into that mission. I don't know if you have. It's stupid easy to get into an unlawful version of that mission. And the mission I'm talking about is in Starfield, and I don't really want to do any spoilers for it. It's a really early mission, and you're basically forced into it, but I'm not going to get too far into it. Basically, if you do anything wrong in any UC space, they're right there to get you for it and take you to the Vigilance. But if you do the Vanguard line, you'll actually meet them naturally and get into the mission lawfully as just a good Vanguard. And you're like, hey, since you're such a good Navy pilot, we have a job for you, kind of thing. And I'm like, that's where that is. Because the other time I found it, it was being taken prisoner and like, you have a very specific set of skills. Just like, God, I don't want to be. I was doing something.
Stop interrupting me.
Okay, so in-game branding.
Oh, that's on the PU. Okay.
Is indeed with a very fancy image. The in-game branding team continued to progress with the underground facility's exterior. That's cool. I actually didn't read that how I read it the first time. This is not the level design team. This is the branding team working on the exterior.
Branding
That's cool.
is downstream.
I'm going to go find a time machine right now so I can go about 3 weeks into the future. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so hyped for CitizenCon. Okay. I have 6 videos and like 20 streams before then. I need to relax. They're also working closely with the EU location team, the EU location 2, on an upcoming event, and progressed with some event related add-ons. Very interesting. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, definitely IAE, but I wonder what the add-ons would be.
Yeah, that's like they've always said like this team's working on events, this team's working on events, this team's working on events. Never have they said we're also doing some add-ons. Interactables with Tree0311.
Interactables on the Star Citizen side last month saw the Interactables team create new assets for Pyro's Rundown Station. And they always say Rundown Station and not Rundown Stations, even though there is a deliverable on the progress tracker called Pyro Space Stations, and it says creating small rundown space stations in Pyro.
This is another resource system, resource network,
naming discrepancy
thing.
But we don't know of a station called Rundown Station, and it's not capitalized. But we do know that the many like Lagrange point stations, like they have in Stanton, in Pyro, are considered rundown and poorly maintained, have limited services, that sort of thing. But yeah, they're creating new assets. So interactables being things that you can interact with, not just static art assets.
Yeah, like all the stuff that you squirrel away in Starfield.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, with those ruin station, which is the landing zone, basically, of Pyro.
Which orbits Pyro
space
6.
Station. And then there are rundown stations in place of Lagrange points, but there is not a rundown station.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, CIG. Oh, boy. All right. So lighting. The lighting team continued to contribute to Pyro, working on tasks for the Colonialism Outpost and Rundown Station. Did they change the name? I doubt it. They also worked on an upcoming event. That is all. Live Tools.
Live Tools in August, the Live Tools team released a new version of the crash handling pipeline, which is now in the maintenance phase. For Hex's network operations center, they worked on general navigation to improve the quality of life for its main users. This included redesigning elements of the discipline module and entity graph. And this is just the tools that the network people use to monitor the servers in the back end for Star Citizen.
And also support to help you with problems with your inventory and things, the thing they have to interact with. So if you need stuff fixed with your account, it's a good thing that they've improved the quality of those people having to touch it. All right. Locations EU. Yes. So this is the team that the branding just talked about. Location EU Locations 2. Noted by the giant building in the image. The locations team progressed across various areas last month, including the Rundown Station, again, and Colonialism Outpost for Pyro. They also worked on signage and dioramas for an upcoming event. Nobody knows what it is. The Organics team continued to build Pyro's planets, including foliage, while the Sandbox team moved the new underground facilities through Greybox. While the Sandbox team moved the new underground facilities through Greybox.
Very nice. So
how far through?
My question is, with these UGFs, I don't think we are going to see active UGFs in Pyro. I think that's kind of silly. And so I'm assuming that they're building ones that are the, this is the decrepit interior, the abandoned interior variant, because they talked about having 2 variants for each, for like 17 different rooms. And I'm assuming each one is going to be a, abandoned and functioning. And I think they are probably building and testing them in Pyro, but then they'll remove them from the map, but that way they don't get included into any of the builds. And that, because we have seen accidental file descriptions and such from leaks regarding the UGFs.
Adrift says, facilities plural, how many are there? So all the UGFs that we have, all the bunkers we have in game now, that's more or less how popular these are going to be. These are in a good quantity replacing the bunkers. But these, what we've seen so far is medium, correct? I believe it's medium. So the UGS we have in-game now would be whatever a small version would be. And then we're getting the medium as the first version. And they've said there's going to be a smattering of Pyro and Stanton and, all colonized systems beyond. So they're quite a big thing. And they seem to be very far along. And I think because the first one we saw, and because they've been developing the entire archetype of UGFs with the Bearing mining facility, I think that's at least one of them they're working like as a proof of concept. I agree that we're gonna see some abandoned ones. I think that's like the main 2 that they're working on is the live office and the abandoned Pyro version that will have pirates all over it.
Yeah, so the all right, so earmuffs if you don't want leaks or spoilers. But
he'll signal you when you can tune back in.
Here, I'm going to screenshot this and we'll just put it on the screen. So this was the leak that was posted in Discord from, in the game files and, data mined. And so this is why I think that they're building them in Pyro and in order to avoid this happening. But it's, UGF industrial description folder of industrial UGFs. So there's going to be not just industrial, there'll be other archetypes, but the industrial ones, Grey Cat being a mining company, they build mining equipment, but so these will be the ones where it'll probably be a Grey Cat underground facility where they do underground mining. Because with we know rocks. That, with your rock DS and stuff, and
easy place to get replacement RL armors.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool. Now, okay, so the main lawful quest gives you a unique color of armor. Unlawful quests, you could steal the color of armor, but also you have like access to all the colors of armor in one place, like just like down people and take their armor. That would be so cool. That'd be a great way to play that both. Also, you could just sneak in and steal it, because that's one of the things that these things are being developed for, is stealth missions. So just sneak in and steal it off the
But yeah, and then there's Kovalex, which would be a cargo station, kind of like what they showed us, or a cargo UGF. But then these are some of the room descriptions, and we know that they talked about 17 different rooms. We don't know if they're all rooms or if some of them, the rooms included like connecting passages and stuff, kind of like how these are described. But so there's going to be a lot of different ones, but there's different variants. So take that for what it will. But I don't think we're going to see active ones in Pyro. It wouldn't make sense for a corporation to be actively operating in Pyro when there isn't
but there
anything
could be
there
factions operating them.
Oh yeah. There, I could see pirate factions, occupying abandoned ones. I just don't see Kovalex operating a cargo UGF in Pyro.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. Companies pretty much stay away from anything that's not incorporated. Even they stay away from neutral. They stay away from abandoned. They stay away from pirate. Like, if it's a company, they stay away from almost anything that's not incorporated in UE space. There we go. Gold Horizon. What are you looking for?
Let's see. Okay. So they transitioned to manufacturing prefabricated mining stations. What was the company that?
So those are the mining stations in Marine Commander?
And then to terraforming support stations. There we go. Which made up the bulk of its business.
So the mining drills in Broken Moon are Gold Horizon?
I don't know. Ruin Station, Star Citizen.
Why Ruin Station? Oh, because it's Gold Horizon.
The prisoner's talking about it. Originally built by Gold Horizon to serve for housing terraforming workers and engineers researching the possibility of terraforming Pyro 3. So Pyro 3 is habitable now, but it seems like it was probably, and I think this is how they're going to rework the lore for it, because they just mentioned it in one of the updates from the recent Galactopedia. That's why this kind of stuff is important, because they call it geohacking, which is where it's not terraforming a planet, it's taking a planet that already has an atmosphere and tweaking it to make it more optimal, or tweaking the weather to make it more optimal. And so basically what they could have done is Pyro 3 could have been habitable, but like not very habitable and like not optimal at all. And they were trying to
plants, but they're like nitrogen plants or something.
And they were trying to geohack it in order for it to be better suited to colonization, and it didn't work. And so that's why it's habitable, but it's not like, a flippin' paradise like in Goss or something. So, yeah.
Yep.
So that was narrative. Is that
starting on SC and
then going to Squadron? Okay, so the narrative team continued to focus on Pyro, writing multiple missions and crafting strings to populate new locations with everything from signage to food, to food items. In Stanton, several new mission types, food items. We want everything in cubes. The way it's easy to stab it with a fork. In Stanton, several new mission types.
That would be a great crossover.
Have you seen all the pictures that people are taking of the way they've cubified their food? It's great.
I would. So I don't. I assume you know that cubed is like one of the, or chunked. Chunk is the thing in Starfield.
Yeah.
I would love. I would love for CIG and Bethesda to share a company. Like, one goes over that way, one comes over this. So like Chunked ends up being a food manufacturer in Star Citizen, and they can give
Kazi Grazer chunks in gravy.
What's a weird kind of manufacturer of something in Star Citizen, like a smaller one? Fizz. Just ship over Fizz. Fizz sodas in Starfield, and we get Chunked foods.
Fizz dessert cubes,
That would be great. I would love that. That'd be such, because they did the whole Eve Lego build, right? I think it'd be super cool on these two projects that they both said are still in development, to gift each other a fictional company to play with. Be great.
Yeah. In Stanton, several new mission types were worked on and improvements were made to existing content. Several new mission types. The narrative team is working on writing the narrative aspects for the missions Gee, I wonder when those missions might be coming in. I don't know, later in the year, like they talked about up at the top of the monthly report. Alongside the evergreen tasks of naming and describing various in-game items and wearables, Narrative worked with Interactables on interesting ideas for future editions. The Narrative design team worked on NPC behaviors for Pyro and continued to explore how to make NPC behaviors feel unique across the various landing zones. Various landing zones. They're talking about the ones in Stanton, but they're talking about making the behaviors unique so that, like, people act differently in New Babbage than they do in Orison. On the website, several interesting pieces of lore were published, including an excerpt from Life, Labor, The Secret History of Hurston Dynamics, a Whitley's Guide to the Constellation Phoenix, and several new Galactopedia entries. The Narrative team will have a new installment of Lore Makers Community Questions coming up soon. Oh boy, these are usually good. So don't hesitate to ask your questions in the team's dedicated Spectrum channel. And now Narrative for Squadron. Squadron 42 Narrative. The Narrative team was heavily involved in recent performance capture shoots. This included interfacing with the level designers to solidify the flow of levels and scripts, as well as working with the core gameplay and audio teams to detail wildline scripts for characters. These included some new characters that had been introduced in the latest levels, as well as pickups for a handful of returning actors that had been previously captured. Part of these lines included buddy AI designs for both FPS and flight sections. Buddy AI for both FPS and flight sections. That's awesome. So not only are you going to have buddy AI for the FPS, your squad mates and stuff, but you're also going to have your squadron mates, following you around in your ship.
I would love to hear what Mark Hamill thinks about the game now.
Yeah.
Because that basically says, it says handful of returning actors that are used in Buddy AI were called back to do some wild lines. Well, we already know of the primary Buddy AI being Mark Hamill's character.
I will make sure to ask him when I interview him at CitizenCon.
You think he's going to be at CitizenCon? Oh, no, you're right. If they're doing Squadron Crab, he's definitely going to be there.
It could be.
Right,
I don't know.
You're right.
That's why I gambled on getting a ticket this year. I'm just like,
that I didn't even... You're playing a different dimension of chess than I ever thought was possible.
I'm going to get a hug from Henry Cavill, and my wife is going to be super jealous.
I just want the handshake from John Rhys Davies.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go up to Henry Cavill, and I'm going to be like, fuck. Yeah, LAX is a terrible airport, especially because I live in Boise, which is a nice small city with an amazingly small and efficient airport. Yeah, and I hate flying commercial with a fiery passion. I fly professionally, and so I really hate getting in commercial planes. So, the subtitle validation work that began last month was completed, with the team reviewing and updating several thousand lines of dialogue. Oh my gosh. To ensure the subtitles accurately reflected what the performer said. The team continued to delve into some of the collectibles that players will be able to find scattered throughout the levels. Yes. Loot Goblin Heaven. I'm so excited. They also progressed with defining the categories and content that will go into the Squadron 42 Galactopedia. Oh, hell yeah. I'm all about this. Yes. The Squadron 42 specific Galactopedia where you can, put all the information and access the information you need. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bend is a nice little airport. Atlanta is just ginormous. Has a horribly outsized airport for the size of that city. I had to go down there for a conference in 2021. Yeah. And that was... No. Nope. That's it for Narrative Squadron 42. So back to you for online services.
In August, the online service team worked towards finalizing the design and approach for updating several legacy backend social services to gRPC. I forgot what gRPC is, but basically they're trying. As we got building blocks for the front end UI, gRPC is for all the backend services. It's basically an easy way to quantify that. As a quality of life update, the team added new social menu options, with players now able to enable or disable friend requests and friend request notifications, and choose who they receive party invite notifications and currency transfers from. I don't know why you shut off people being able to send you money for no good reason, but hey, you now have the option. Updates were also made to the discipline service, which is necessary for future anti-cheat enforcement and sanction updates. Neat. We don't like cheaters, so that's good. So yeah, we got friend requests, enable, disable, friend request notification, enable, disable, party invite from, so anyone, friend, I imagine, are the options. And then currency transfer notification, anyone, friends, party, I would imagine. It doesn't say explicitly what all the options are, but those are at least some of the options that we'll be having in the next update. Hopefully, they actually do. I think someone was talking about VoIP was quite high on the list on things they wanted to fix so that more people use it. So hopefully that becomes a new focus as well. Yeah, really cool. If they fix like the hotkey stuff, I think a lot more people would use it because me and my org was trying to do an entire event with only VoIP, and like 2 or 3, almost half the people had either speaking or hearing problems with VoIP. All right, so on to one of the most exciting people or teams, R&D.
R&D, research and development, also stands for rip off and duplicate. In August, work on the temporal render mode for atmosphere and volumetric clouds continued. Various methods to rectify or reject frame history were experimented with. And so this is just updating and improving the way that the clouds, both atmospheric and volumetric, what we see for clouds in game, the way that they are rendered, and to make them not only look better, to also be more performant, so you get better frames, and to help reduce all the artifacting that we see. Furthermore, a new disocclusion detection system to reject history was implemented that, in spirit, is similar to the general upsampling solution. Additionally, various code was updated to work with recent Gen 12 improvements.
Sweet.
And back to you for UI.
All right. Oh no, I see that word again. As part of the development of Pyro, the UI team created fluff screens and converted flash animations into fluff screens. They also supported mission feature on by lifting the screen style. I will not get excited until they tell me it's not the same as every other hack in the game with just... Nope, not gonna rant again. Back to you with VFX.
But it's uplifting. It's uplifting.
That's just UI work. That's just making screens look better. That says nothing on what the gameplay is.
Poor Naz. VFX on the Star Citizen side. Last month, the VFX team continued working on various Pyro locations, including some with animated machinery. Ooh. I want to see this. Whoops. And we're at the end anyway, so. And then for VFX Squadron 42, the last bit, VFX continued the work discussed in July's report. In particular, fire propagation visuals were further improved, with fog volumes being used to show smoke accumulating at ceiling height, alongside further visual breakup of the fire particle effects. Nice. Yeah, the finished product of fire is just going to look so incredible, and
I imagine
the fact that our ships can burn. Yeah.
I imagine what they showed in the VFX ISC was like a week into their assignment. Yeah. Like, hey, we like, or maybe like a month into their assignment. And so like what we actually saw was basically like barely getting started work on the VFX. Like it was just a step off of engineering art. Mm-hmm. And now we have accumulating fog or smoke. We have like particle. What is that? Breakup particle in the fire. So like I can't wait. I can't wait to see somebody else's ship burn down because mine will not be. I know where all my fire extinguishers are.
We practice fire safety on board the Vomit Comet. So yeah.
Nice. And that's it. That's all we got.
And that is it for the monthly reports. And it is late, so I need to call it a night because I have to get up in the morning and go back and play army stuff and go fly. So if anyone has a suggestion for someone to raid, since there's still a good number of you hanging out in chat, we really appreciate you being a part of the stream this evening and coming down and hanging out and sharing your opinions and your thoughts. And I really appreciate the raid from Mixela. But yeah, let's pay it forward. Let's send someone else some love. Let's see. Danger Hobo says Henkin. Is that someone? Don't forget to log in and visit Port Olisar before 320 drops. Yep, don't forget to do that.
Yeah, you have like less than 24 hours to do that. But yeah.
Henkin SC. There we go. Yeah, that must be a person.
Yep.
And they are playing Star Citizen, so I'm going to go ahead and start that raid. Bingo.
What's he up to?
20 viewers are ready to raid and ready to raid now. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and we will see you again soon. Make sure to join the Discord and follow along for any updates, and hopefully I'll be able to stream some more later this week, and we can do some relic hunting in Alpha 320. And thanks again, and have a good night. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Someone just said Pegasus.